The legendary clash between Madara and Hashirama had finally reached its conclusion, leaving the land scarred beyond recognition. What was once a vibrant battlefield was now a monument to destruction, and the bond between the two men who had once dreamed of peace was shattered forever. Madara vanished without a trace, presumed dead, while Mito stepped forward as the first host of the Nine Tails. Using her mastery of sealing arts, she bound the beast within herself, giving Hashirama the chance to strike one last decisive blow against his old friend. Though the plan succeeded, the weight of guilt pressed heavily on Hashirama's heart. With a weary breath and sorrow etched across his face, Hashirama whispered, "It's over, Mito. The bond we once shared is gone. His hatred has been silenced, but in doing so, my own flame has dimmed." Mito stepped close, embracing her husband with gentle strength. "Do not despair, my love. The will of fire still burns within you, and through it Konoha will flourish. I believe in you." Hashirama offered her a faint smile, his gaze fixed on the land around them. The once pristine lake, alive with nature, had been transformed into a crater carved by their clash, with a roaring waterfall spilling into its depths. "This land will always bear the wound of our battle," Hashirama murmured. "A place where gods among men clashed. From this day forward it shall be known as the Valley of the End. It will stand as a reminder, the end of his hatred, the end of our brotherhood, and the beginning of a new path." Mito pressed a kiss to his cheek and answered softly, "It pains me that it had to end this way, but what's done cannot be undone. Come home with me, Hashirama. Let us guide Konoha together and show the world the true meaning of the will of fire." This time, Hashirama smiled fully, turning toward her. "You're right. The past is behind us, and the future holds greater promise. Let's go, Mito, home is waiting." 3 years later, the future truly had brightened. Under Hashirama's leadership, Konoha thrived, becoming a beacon of strength and stability across the elemental nations. Its shinobi embodied the will of fire, and other villages could not ignore the land of fire's rising influence. Amid this progress, joy bloomed within the Senju household as well. A year earlier, Mito had given birth to their son, Naruto. Though the Nine-Tails seal weakened slightly, it remained stable, much to their relief. The boy quickly became a symbol of hope for the village, seen by many as Hashirama's living legacy. None could imagine then just how true those words would prove to be. At the Senju compound, Mito sat comfortably, nursing her infant son. Little Naruto, with his dark hair and tan skin, cooed happily in her arms, his innocence melting her heart. The front door opened, and Hashirama's warm voice carried into the room. "Ah, Mito, it seems Naruto is quite content." The boy paused just long enough to wave at his father with a cheerful sound before returning to his meal, making both parents chuckle. Mito teased, "You change completely when you're with him. The stern Hokage everyone knows disappears, replaced by a man who's as playful as a child." Hashirama sat beside her, shrugging with a grin. "What can I say? Having a family brings out a side of me I never knew I had." His tone shifted slightly. "How is the seal holding up?" Mito adjusted her kimono and passed Naruto into his father's arms. "For now, it's stable, though I can't say for how long." Before the conversation could continue, Hashirama yelped as Naruto tugged mercilessly at his long hair, earning a laugh from Mito. "Ow, Naruto. That hurts, ah, raising a child really is a challenge." 6 years later, in the backyard of the Senju compound, two boys trained under the watchful eye of the first Hokage himself. Naruto and Hiruzen Sarutobi, both 7 years old and born just weeks apart, had been under Hashirama's guidance since the age of 5. Their growth had been remarkable, and Hashirama saw the potential for greatness in both of them. Naruto blocked a strike from Hiruzen, countering with an elbow toward his friend's chest. But Hiruzen smoothly flipped over his head, landing behind him and striking at Naruto's ribs. The blow landed, sending Naruto stumbling, though he quickly retaliated with a sweeping kick. Hiruzen leapt clear just as Hashirama called an end to their sparring. "Enough, you two. 30 minutes well done. You've both impressed me today. Now it's time to see your elemental affinities." From his robes, Hashirama produced 2 chakra-infused papers, handing one to each boy. "Channel chakra into the paper. It will reveal your element. Cut means wind, damp means water, crumpled is lightning, dust is earth, and flame means fire." Hiruzen went first. His paper crumbled into dust, and the fragments suddenly ignited in bright flame. Hashirama nodded. Earth and fire, a balanced combination of offense and defense. A strong foundation to build upon. Now, Naruto focused, and his paper split in two, one side soaked until it nearly dissolved, the other turning to dust. To everyone's shock, the remnants sprouted into a tiny sapling before their eyes. "Well now," Hashirama said, clearly astonished. "Not only do you hold affinities for water and earth, but you've awakened the Mokuton as well. Truly remarkable. But Naruto, you'll have to master your basics first. Only then will I consider teaching you the Mokuton." Naruto pouted dramatically, earning a laugh from Hiruzen. Hashirama, however, kept his serious tone. "For now, continue with your drills, chakra control, kunai practice, conditioning, and sparring. The world is still dangerous, and only the strong endure. After today's training, think about what other skills you want to develop and let your clan heads know." The boys nodded, and Mito soon joined them, smiling as she watched. "They're growing quickly, my love. I can already see them doing great things." Hashirama glanced at her. "Will you teach Naruto sealing techniques while I focus on kenjutsu?" "I will," Mito answered, though concern tinged her voice. "But are we pushing them too hard, forcing them to grow up too soon?" Hashirama's eyes softened. "I wonder the same, Mito, but with tensions so high, strength is survival. We both know that." Mito nodded, though unease lingered, as they watched the children continue their training. 2 months later, she decided to take Naruto to her birthplace, Uzushiagakure, to deepen his knowledge of sealing and help him bond with his heritage. Hashirama encouraged the trip, knowing family meant everything to his wife and to Naruto himself. On the road, Naruto grew restless. "Are we there yet?" "Patience," Mito chided gently. "We're close, but it's been 2 days already. Teach me something new at least." With a sigh, Mito tapped him lightly on the head, earning a yelp. "Remember what your father taught you, Naruto. If you keep whining, I might just tell him you were impatient the whole way." Naruto's eyes widened in alarm. No, please don't tell Dad, I'll be good." His desperate plea made Mito laugh. "Good. Then promise me you'll give this training your all and make some friends while we're there." Naruto nodded eagerly. At last, Mito smiled. "We've arrived." Inside Uzukage Tower, a knock interrupted the Uzukage's thoughts. When she looked up, her eyes brightened with joy. "Mito," she exclaimed, embracing her daughter warmly. "It's been too long, mother," Mito replied with a smile. The Uzukage's gaze shifted to the boy at her side, his resemblance to Hashirama uncanny. "And who is this little one? Surely your son," Naruto bowed politely. "It's an honor to meet you, Uzukage-sama. My name is Naruto Senju." The Uzukage laughed warmly. "How courteous. Hashirama has clearly taught you well. I have no doubt we'll get along just fine." Naruto tilted his head. "But how do you know my mother?" Mito chuckled, ruffling his hair. "Because she is my mother, Naruto." "Oh," Naruto muttered simply, leaving both women in laughter. Karen, the Uzukage, gave them a tour of Uzushiagakure. The village had similarities to Konoha, but its bridges stretched across winding rivers, and the Uzumaki spiral adorned every building. Everywhere they went, shinobi and civilians greeted them with warmth. Naruto felt an immediate connection to this place, as though it were another home. It made sense. After all, it was part of his bloodline. Mito decided they would remain for 6 months, and Naruto's joy was unmistakable. During their stay, he trained under various Uzumaki instructors, learning ninjutsu, kenjutsu, and the art of fuinjutsu. It was everything Mito had hoped for. For the first 2 months, Naruto devoted himself to learning the art of sealing under the guidance of an elderly woman named Yuzuki. To him, she seemed endlessly patient, wise, and kind. But he also learned very quickly that she wouldn't hesitate to discipline him if he stepped out of line. He found that out the hard way the day, he let his parents' warning slip from his mind and began to complain. "Yuzuki-sensei, why do you make me repeat the same strokes again and again? I already know them. Can't you show me something new?" Naruto whined. The old woman's lips curled into a calm smile as she hobbled toward him with her cane. Then thwack! She smacked it lightly but firmly across his head, making him yelp and clutch his skull. "No complaints, boy. Didn't Mito tell you how dangerous seals are if you make even the smallest mistake? I have you practice until it's second nature so you don't end up blowing yourself up. Whining has no place in my house. If I hear it again, I'll tell your mother exactly why I refuse to teach you further." Naruto's eyes widened in panic, and he immediately scrambled to his parchment. "Enno, please. I'll behave, don't tell Kasan, I'll work hard, I promise." Yuzuki chuckled softly and ruffled his messy hair. "That's more like it. You've got talent, child. If you keep this up, I can see greatness in your future." With a relieved sigh, Naruto bent over his work again. By the time 2 months had passed, Yuzuki proudly declared him a beginner in sealing arts, even hinting that with a few more years of effort, he could grow into a true expert. Overjoyed, Naruto ran to Mito to share the news, and her smile told him how proud she was. The next 2 months shifted to ninjutsu, with Naruto training under a middle-aged man named Daisuke. Thanks to his inherited affinity for water, which once belonged to Tobirama Senju, progress came naturally. Daisuke was thrilled at Naruto's potential, certain they could accomplish much in their time together. By the end of those weeks, Naruto had learned 6 new techniques, but the one that became his favorite was also the first he mastered, with only a single hand sign. "All right, Naruto, our time's nearly finished. I heard you've been refining one of the jutsu I taught you. How's it coming along?" Daisuke asked. Naruto's grin stretched wide. "Get ready to be amazed, Daisuke-sensei." Forming a single seal, he declared, "Uzumaki's secret art. Maelstrom of destruction." He thrust his hands forward, and the small grove of trees at the edge of the training field began to swirl in a furious vortex. Wind whipped violently, making the trees groan and sway. With another motion, the whirlpool collapsed inward, shredding the trunks into splinters. Then, spreading his arms once more, Naruto sent the fragments exploding outward in a storm of wooden shrapnel. As the winds died down, he turned and laughed at the stunned look on his teacher's face. I don't believe it," Daisuke stammered. "One hand sign, that was supposed to be a simple C-rank restraint jutsu, but the way you modified it, it's closer to a B, maybe even A rank." Naruto puffed his chest. "I knew it could be more than just a defensive trick. I thought, why not weaponize it? Imagine what it could do against a whole group of enemies." Daisuke shivered at the thought. "You're definitely a senju with that much chakra, and an Uzumaki for reshaping the technique entirely. But tell me, aren't you exhausted after using it like that?" Naruto shook his head. "I feel fine, full energy." "Is that bad?" Daisuke's jaw dropped. "Unbelievable. And Uzumaki's reserves are massive already, but mixing in senju blood, your chakra pool must be bottomless. You can use high-level jutsu with barely any drawback." Naruto rubbed his nose proudly. "Heh, I'm awesome. Mom's going to be so proud." Word spread quickly across Uzu about Naruto's new variation of the maelstrom. The village recognized it as an A-rank technique and added it to their arsenal. Mito and Karin were bursting with pride for him. The last 2 months of his training were with Kenshin, a strict swordsman who taught Naruto the Uzumaki Kenjutsu stances and techniques that unleashed chakra in devastating waves. Unlike his other teachers, Kenshin's methods were harsh. Every day, Naruto came home bruised, sore, and exhausted, so much so that Mito often teased him for looking like a rag doll. On the first week, Naruto learned just how unyielding Kenshin could be. Facing one another with wooden swords, Kenshin demonstrated. "This is one stance of the raging tide. Feet apart, left foot forward, right foot back. Bend your knees slightly, hold the blade near your waist at an angle to the right." He showed the form, his posture flowing like water but ready to strike like a crashing wave. "Your turn," Naruto mimicked him, only to grunt in pain as Kenshin's Bakken smacked his knee. "Too close, space your feet correctly, again." Naruto tried once more, but this time Kenshin cracked his forearm. "Blade too wide. Bring it in, again." The cycle repeated for nearly an hour, with Naruto yelping at every mistake, until at last he stood in the stance correctly. Kenshin gave a small nod. "What next, sensei?" Naruto asked, only to yelp again as the Bakken struck his ribs. "You lost focus. Never take your eyes off the enemy. Watch, anticipate." Naruto glared, locking onto Kenshin's movements. He caught a twitch in the man's hand and tried to block, only to be struck on the opposite side. "The body lies. The eyes and intent never do. Learn to feel your opponent." Naruto steadied himself, eyes narrowing. This time he anticipated correctly, blocking the strike, only to be sent flying by a kick to his gut. Groaning, he stood again. "Kenjutsu is more than swords. It's taijutsu, awareness, survival. Always expect the unexpected. Now again. Hi, sensei, Naruto shouted, determination flaring. The grueling regimen continued for 2 months. By the end, Kenshin admitted Naruto had gained a solid grasp of the raging tide, with the potential to master it if he kept practicing. Impressed, Kenshin decided it was time to present a gift. Our training is complete, Naruto. I'm proud of how far you've come. Thank you, sensei, Naruto said, bowing respectfully. With a rare smile, Kenshin led him deep beneath the dojo, into a chamber lit by a single beam of light shining down upon a pedestal. Resting there was a katana, its sheath shimmering with silver waves, the steel-blue lacquer gleaming softly. The hilt was wrapped in alternating blue and white, finished with a crimson gem at its base. Naruto's breath caught at the sight. This, Kenshin explained, is the raging whirlpool. It is no ordinary blade, it chooses its wielder. My own sensei once carried it, but the sword has never answered my call. I believe it may answer yours. Naruto blinked. You really think me? Close your eyes, open your heart, let it speak. Naruto obeyed, steadying his breath. A whisper stirred in his mind. Come, child, take me in hand. I have slumbered too long. His eyes flew open, and almost entranced, he stepped forward, gripping the hilt. At once, a brilliant blue aura erupted from the weapon, swirling around him. Kenshin's eyes widened in awe, recognizing at last that the blade had chosen. Naruto, meanwhile, found himself adrift in a vast, endless white sea. Hello, is anyone here? He called, the same voice echoed. Come closer, child. Let me see the one destined to wield me. Naruto followed the sound and beheld a woman standing gracefully in a kimono patterned with waves. She was tall, silver-haired, barefoot, and her ocean blue eyes radiated warmth. Her beauty stunned him into silence. So, a young one seeks to claim me, she said softly. Tell me, child, what is your name? Bowing low, Naruto answered, I am Naruto Senju, my lady. It is an honor that you would choose me. Her lips curved into a serene smile. I am Anya, spirit of the ocean and of this blade. But before you can carry me, I must know your intent. Answer truthfully. If you speak falsely, I will end you and cast your body into the depths. Naruto swallowed hard, then met her gaze. I wish to wield this blade to protect those I love. I will strike down anyone who threatens them. I want to carry on my father's will of fire and guard Konoha until my final breath. Anya's lips curved into a knowing smile. You've chosen wisely, young Naruto. Wield me well, and let your foes drown in the fury that only the ocean can bring. A burst of blinding white light filled the chamber, and when it cleared, Naruto found himself gripping the hilt of the katana. Carefully, he lifted it from its pedestal and drew the blade. It shimmered with a silver-white sheen, 2.5 feet of flawless steel. Testing a few swings, he marveled at how naturally it moved, each motion smooth and fluid, as though his strikes were flowing water. With a satisfied nod, Naruto slid it back into its sheath and strapped it to his back, grinning at Kenshin. It spoke to you, Kenshin observed, clearly impressed. That means it has accepted you as its next bearer. But Kenshin wasn't prepared for Naruto's next words. Her name is Vanya, sensei, the spirit of the ocean itself. I'll use this blade to cut down any who threaten the will of fire or Konoha. I'll make them understand the wrath the ocean can unleash. Kenshin chuckled and ruffled his student's hair. Come on, my boy, let's go tell your mother about your new treasure. 6 months slipped by. During that time, Naruto had bonded with many villagers, especially the orphans, since he understood what it meant to grow up without parents. He promised himself that one day he'd return to Uzu and help its people flourish just as Konoha had. Mito was brimming with pride at his progress, eager to share the news with Hashirama. After heartfelt goodbyes, Naruto and Mito returned to Konoha, their hearts full. 6 years passed. Naruto and Hiruzen had grown into formidable young shinobi, their strength bringing joy to both Hashirama and Mito. The village prospered, though the occasional clan conflict still lingered. One afternoon, the two boys sat in meditation at the Senju estate gardens, focusing their chakra to sharpen both body and mind. Now 15, Naruto stood tall at 6 feet. His black hair, long enough to reach the middle of his back, was tied into a high ponytail, and his bangs framed a sharp, regal face scarred by a line that ran from his right eye to his chin. He wore black attire beneath red armor reminiscent of his father's, the Senju crest marking his collar, and Gatou sandals on his feet. Strapped to his back was his katana from Uzu, the raging whirlpool. Beside him sat Hiruzen, shorter at 5'3". He wore steel-plated armor with shoulder guards, arm braces, and a kunai holster on his leg. His black hair was cropped short, and a faint goatee had started to grow on his chin. Sensing a familiar presence, Naruto smiled. "Hello, Tusan, what brings you here?" Hashirama chuckled warmly. "You've inherited traits from both me and Tobirama, it's remarkable. And that scar tells me your enemy's blade came far too close for comfort, eh?" Naruto pouted as Hiruzen snickered. "Tusan, that was 2 years ago. The only reason I still have this eye is because I shut it just in time and leapt back." "Yes, 2 years ago," Hashirama agreed, his tone firm. "But you learned then that arrogance can be costly. Caution is a shinobi's greatest weapon." Naruto nodded solemnly. "I know, never underestimate an opponent, and never let rage cloud judgment. Those lessons are carved into me." Flashback, 2 years earlier, Naruto and Hiruzen overlooked a camp of a once powerful clan, now reduced to stragglers after the endless wars. The cycle of hatred lived on, as it always had. Their mission was grim. The clan had been linked to the assassination of a Konoha councilman, and the trail led here. Naruto exhaled heavily. "The cycle never ends, does it, Hiruzen?" "It doesn't," Hiruzen replied. "But let's pray we see peace in our lifetime." Below, about 100 men, women, and children went about their lives in the makeshift tent city. It was nothing luxurious, but it kept them alive. Naruto's heart sank. "Must we kill even the children? It feels wrong to take lives that haven't yet begun to bloom." Hiruzen's eyes darkened with resolve. "We must, Naruto. Harden your heart and trust that the gods forgive us. For the will of fire." "For the will of fire," Naruto echoed, his voice heavy. Both inhaled sharply, steeling themselves. Forming hand seals, they prepared their attack. "Water release." "Water dragon bullet technique," Naruto whispered. "Earth release, earth dragon," Hiruzen intoned. The two jutsu merged into a colossal mud dragon that tore through the camp, crashing down with a deafening roar. Chaos erupted. As screams filled the air, Naruto unsheathed his katana, and Hiruzen drew his staff. Together, they charged. They cut through the survivors swiftly. Out of 100, only 20 still stood. Naruto struck with the grace of flowing water, slicing necks, stabbing hearts, dodging blows. But one strike nearly ended him. As he finished one enemy, a gleam of steel flashed from his blind side. Naruto barely shut his eye in time, leaping back as pain seared across his face. His right eye blurred. Snarling, he thrust his blade forward and pierced his attacker through the chest. Minutes later, silence reigned. The ground ran red, littered with broken bodies. Naruto and Hiruzen stood among the carnage, breath heavy, sadness etched into their faces. This was the way of the shinobi. Flashback end. "Are you even listening to me, Naruto?" Hashirama asked, arching a brow. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. "Sorry, Tusan, my mind wandered." Hiruzen laughed heartily, while Naruto scowled at him in mock annoyance. Hashirama cleared his throat, regaining their attention. "Listen, Naruto, Hiruzen, I must head into battle again. If I don't return, Tobirama will lead in my stead. I've spoken with Mito, and we both agree, you must stay behind, my son, you'll carry on my legacy." Naruto's eyes widened. "No, father, I want to fight beside you, father and son, standing together. Please let me come." Hashirama's expression softened. He pulled Naruto into a firm embrace. "I know you want to, but you have much life left to live. Stay here, Naruto. Protect Konoha, nurture the will of fire, and bring our clan honor. Live for me, and for everyone in this land." Tears welled in Naruto's eyes. He couldn't argue. Hashirama unclasped his necklace and draped it around his son's neck. "This is my gift to you, bear it proudly. Carry the Senju flame, goodbye, my son." Naruto clutched the gem, tears streaming down his cheeks. "I'll miss you, Tusan." A week later, news reached Konoha Hashirama was dead. His regiment returned with his body. Though the battle had been won, it came at the greatest price. The village mourned its first Hokage, the man who had built Konoha from nothing. Tobirama stepped forward as the new Hokage, but grief hung heavy over all. Mito was devastated, her sorrow weakening the seal within her. She knew the day would soon come when the burden would have to be passed. At the funeral, the entire village gathered. Naruto stepped forward to speak, his voice steady though his heart ached. My father's necklace rests on me now, a gift he gave before he left. I wear it with pride, as a promise to uphold his legacy. To die in battle is the greatest honor for a shinobi, and he passed protecting everything he loved. The will of fire doesn't fade with death, it burns brighter through those he leaves behind. Now I ask you all, will his death extinguish our flame or ignite it into an inferno? The crowd erupted in cheers. Our fire will never die, voices roared, the sorrow giving way to renewed determination. As Naruto turned away, he felt a small tug at his leg. Looking down, he saw Tsunade, her eyes red and swollen. He gently lifted her onto his shoulders. Why did Grandpa have to die, Naruto? The 3-year-old sobbed. Naruto's gaze softened. The life of a shinobi is hard, Tsunade, but remember he died a hero. And no matter what happens, Mito, Tobirama, and I will always protect you. Tsunade clung tightly to Naruto's neck, burying her face in his hair as tears streamed down her cheeks. He let out a soft sigh, eyes stinging as his own emotions bubbled up. Losing Hashirama had been devastating enough, but now another storm loomed. Mito's seal restraining the Kyuubi was steadily failing. Flashback. 1 year earlier, Naruto wandered into the kitchen, stomach grumbling, when he heard Mito call for him from the study. Letting out a resigned sigh, he made his way upstairs, turning into the 3rd room on the right. There, he found his mother hunched over a desk covered with sealing diagrams and papers. "You needed me, Ka-san?" he asked. Mito nodded and motioned him closer. "The seal restraining the Kyuubi has weakened far more than expected. It won't last much longer. I've decided it must be transferred into you, Naruto. I need your help refining the array for this." Naruto froze, the words choking in his throat. What, me? Why not seal it in someone else?" Mito's eyes softened. "Because your chakra mirrors your father's, rooted in nature, strong enough to suppress and eventually tame the Kyuubi. And don't forget, you carry the Mokyutin within you. That power can keep a Biju in check." Naruto toyed nervously with the end of his ponytail, reluctant but resolute. "I don't like it, but I'll do it for you, Ka-san." Her expression warmed. "Thank you, my son. Let's see if we can finalize the seal together, shall we?" For hours, mother and son pored over the complex patterns, testing and adjusting strokes. Just as exhaustion began to creep in, Naruto noticed something wrong. His eyes widened. "Ka-san, don't finish that. That line is wrong." But Mito's brush had already struck. She froze as the ink flared unnaturally. "What do you no?" The array lifted from the desk, glowing brilliantly. Before either could escape, a flash of white swallowed the study. Horrific visions filled the room, the Kyuubi rampaging through Konoha, a faceless Hokage ruling with an iron fist, and endless wars spreading across the nations. The final image showed the shinobi world collapsing into ruin, the very concept of ninja extinguished. When the light faded, the seal crumbled into ash. Both Mito and Naruto groaned, clutching their heads as they struggled to stand. What just happened?" Naruto whispered. Mito's face was pale. "We saw death, the end of everything." Could that truly be Konoha's fate? Naruto swallowed hard. "Ka-san, I think we accidentally glimpsed the future. If that's true, then I'll accept the burden of the Kyuubi. But I also want to seal myself away, so the next generation has a chance to avoid that future." Mito stared at him in disbelief, unable to fathom how a seal could do such a thing. Still, she saw the determination in her son's eyes. She sighed. "If you're right, then so be it. Let's take a break and revisit this later." They left the study, still shaken, minds heavy with what they'd witnessed. Flashback ends. The Senju household was heavy with sorrow. Mito lay frail and pale in bed, racked with pain. It had been 3 years since that night in the study, but the memory of it lingered like a curse. Now Naruto sat beside her, terrified she would pass before their plan was complete. With trembling hands, Mito beckoned him closer. "The seal, it's almost gone. The Kyuubi will break free if we don't act soon. You know what this means, Naruto." His voice cracked. "I'll miss you, Ka-san. Konoha will too, but we've prepared for this. I'll make sure our work lights the way for the shinobi to come." Mito's lips curved weakly. "I believe in you, my son. When you wake, give Konoha the spark it needs to restore its flame." Naruto brushed strands of hair from her face, fighting back tears. "I will, I promise. Shall we begin?" She nodded faintly. Her fingers moved through seals as Naruto lifted his shirt and drew the prepared array onto his stomach. Mido's hand glowed green as she pulled the crimson chakra of the Kyuubi from her body, guiding it into her son. With the last of her strength and life force, she sealed the beast within him. To be safe, Naruto added additional barriers to limit the fox's influence. With his Senju lineage and Hashirama's sage chakra, he was confident he could one day tame the beast. The sealing complete, Naruto rushed to his mother's side. Tears streamed as he cradled her face. Her final whisper left her lips. "The will lives on in you." Her body went still. Naruto collapsed, sobbing over her as the weight of both loss and duty crushed him. Mido's death struck Konoha like a hammer blow. Though grief spread through the village, the presence of Naruto and Tobirama kept hope alive. Her funeral mirrored Hashirama's, solemn, heavy, unforgettable. Afterward, Naruto confided in Tobirama about his plan. To his surprise, the second Hokage agreed. Hokage's office, the scroll of seals lay stretched across the floor as Naruto completed an intricate array. Standing, he looked to Tobirama, who met his smile with one of his own. "You wear that armor well," Naruto said softly. "When I return, it will be a shock. But tell me, why keep this from Hiruzen?" Naruto shook his head. "It has to appear as though I vanished. Only you must know. Yes, Hiruzen will be angry when I come back, but I'll accept that. I'll miss everyone, especially you." Tobirama handed him another scroll. "Then take this. It holds my plans as Hokage, policies, and insights. When you return, it may guide you." Naruto accepted it with gratitude. "Thank you, my friend. If anyone asks, tell them I'm on an extended mission. And if doubt grows with time, give them hope that I live." Tobirama embraced him, both shedding quiet tears. With a final nod, Naruto activated his seal, vanishing in a burst of white light. Alone, Tobirama sighed and rolled up the scroll of seals. "I'll miss you, Naruto. Konoha will. But one day you'll return, and with you, the will of fire will blaze again." Weeks passed, then years. Villagers asked after Naruto, but Tobirama repeated the story of his long mission. Even as decades slipped away, he kept their hope alive. When Tobirama eventually fell in battle, Hiruzen inherited the Hokage's hat, and with it, the quiet hope that one day, his friend Naruto would return. 50 years later, in a timeless white void, Naruto drifted. Here, aging meant nothing. Decades passed as he trained, mastering Kurama's chakra and forging a bond with the fox itself. Over time, the beast revealed its true name. Kurama, what began as hostility grew into partnership. As Naruto meditated, the void began to fracture around him. He stood, stretching with a smile. "It's time, Kurama. Just as Kasan and I foresaw, the moment has come to reshape this world." Kurama rumbled with approval. "With me at your side, Senju-sama, nothing will stand in our way." "Thank you, Kurama." In another flash of white, Naruto vanished. Moments earlier in Konoha, Mizuki darted through the forest, clutching the forbidden scroll of seals. He laughed manically. "At last. With this, my master and I will bring Konoha to its knees." Before he could reach the border, ANBU operatives surrounded him, kunai at the ready. "By order of the Sandaime Hokage, surrender the scroll," one demanded. Mizuki snarled. "Never with this scroll, I'll destroy you all." Unrolling it, he spotted a strange, intricate seal and smirked. "This has to be powerful." He slammed his hand onto it, flooding it with chakra. A blinding white light erupted, forcing both ANBU and Mizuki to shield their eyes. When the glow faded, the operatives dropped to their knees in stunned reverence at the figure now standing before them. Mizuki, still regaining his vision, glanced around in confusion. The stunned expressions of the ANBU puzzled him until his eyes landed on the figure before him. His blood ran cold, and he stumbled backward in disbelief. "Why, this can't be real. Hashirama died in battle decades ago." The man ignored his words, his gaze sweeping the area. "Strange, this isn't the Hokage's office where I expected to awaken all those years ago." His eyes shifted from Mizuki to the forbidden scroll lying on the dirt, and finally to the kneeling ANBU. In an instant, he understood the situation. "Stand, my comrades," Naruto commanded with quiet authority. "Allow me to deal with this traitor who dared to dim the flame Konoha protects." The ANBU obeyed without hesitation. Naruto dashed forward, katana flashing in his hand as he slashed at Mizuki. The traitor barely managed to stumble out of the way, terror in his eyes. "Stay back, ghost!" Mizuki shrieked. Naruto exhaled sharply, sliding his blade back into its sheath. His hands formed seals. Wood release, great forest technique. From his right arm sprouted wooden tendrils, snaking forward with terrifying speed. They wrapped around Mizuki, dragging the thrashing man into the air until his terrified face hovered inches from Naruto's calm one. "You have much to answer for," Naruto said coolly. He then glanced at the ANBU. "Escort me, this traitor and my father's scroll to the Hawkage Tower. I need to speak with the current Hawkage." The ANBU dropped from their hidden perches, one retrieving the scroll. Together, they bowed deeply. At once, Senju-sama. Hawkage Tower. A knock echoed against the Hawkage's door. "Enter," Hiruzen called, glancing up from his paperwork. Relief touched his features as he spotted his ANBU holding the forbidden scroll. "Ah, you've returned with the village's treasure. Excellent work." One ANBU in a boar mask stepped forward and bowed. "Hawkage-sama, it was not us who secured the scroll or apprehended Mizuki. It was Hashirama-sama." Hiruzen blinked, then scowled at the masked man. "Enough nonsense. Hashirama died over 50 years ago, and his son vanished not long after Mito's death and the sealing of the Nine Tails. Do not joke about such matters." Before he could say more, a voice long unheard filled the office. The ANBU shifted aside, revealing Naruto, standing tall in his usual attire, Mizuki bound tightly in wooden restraints. "Damn, Hiruzen, you've aged. How long has it been since I sealed myself inside the forbidden scroll?" Hiruzen's jaw dropped. And Naruto? His body wavered before collapsing unconscious from sheer shock. 10 minutes later, the ANBU managed to revive him. By then, Naruto was seated casually by the desk, smiling with patience. Mizuki had already been hauled off to T&I, where his interrogation would surely prove easy after witnessing Naruto's return. Hiruzen groaned, pressing his temples as his blurred vision cleared. He found Naruto calmly waiting, that same youthful aura around him. "So, it wasn't a dream," Hiruzen muttered. Naruto chuckled and was immediately slapped. "What were you thinking?" Hiruzen shouted. "Careful, old friend. Your heart won't handle that stress forever," Naruto teased, unfazed. "We may be the same age, but our bodies clearly disagree. Sit down, I'll explain why I sealed myself away." With a heavy sigh, Hiruzen motioned his ANBU back to their posts and raised a barrier seal around the office. "Very well, tell me." Naruto leaned back slightly, brushing aside a strand of hair. His expression grew solemn. 4 years before Mito passed, she and I made a grave error while constructing a sealing array. That mistake ended up binding the Nine Tails into me, but it also gave us an unexpected gift. The seal allowed glimpses of the future, visions that showed me I would need to preserve my youth if this world were to endure. So Mito and I poured everything into achieving it. As you can see, it worked. I remain as I was, 18. Tobirama knew of this before I sealed myself within the scroll, and though saddened, he understood. "Tell me, Hiruzen, how fares Tobirama, Uzu, the others? And just how many years have passed?" Hiruzen's expression dimmed. "You and Mito always had a genius for seals. I won't question the method, you were a master by 15. But it has been 50 years. Tobirama fell in battle, like Hashirama before him. Uzu still stands strong, though. Tsunade prayed every day for your return, she leads our hospital now." Naruto bowed his head. "So another flame extinguished. And Tsunade, she deserves a reunion though later. For now, I mourn my uncle." "Unfortunately, that is the way of things," Hiruzen said softly. Naruto inhaled deeply. "Tell me, how is Konoha truly faring?" Hiruzen grimaced. "Not well, I've grown soft. The civilian council and Danzo have usurped much of my authority. My advisors and I try to claw it back, but it slips further each year. Perhaps your presence can reignite hope." Naruto's eyes hardened. "The visions Mito and I saw hinted at decline, and it appears we were right. End the seal, Hiruzen, call the council. Tobirama entrusted me with knowledge before my sealing. I know politics well. After all, I was trained by my father himself." Hiruzen chuckled tiredly, lowering the barrier. "The council will faint when they see you. They'll think Hashirama himself has returned. But first, look at what the academy teaches now." He handed Naruto a paper. As Naruto read, silver chakra flared around him. The oppressive Ki pressed the room to its knees, forcing even the ANBU to bow. 3 basic jutsu and endless history lessons. Naruto snarled. If my father and Tobirama saw this, they'd roll in their graves. Children sent to die with barely any training, it disgusts me. Hiruzen swallowed nervously. Genin death rates hover near 50%. Jonin show favoritism, and many never continue training after promotion. Naruto's voice thundered. Enough, I'll show this village what the will of fire truly means. I will rekindle it with my own hands. He shredded the paper. Come, Hiruzen, there is work to do. ANBU, Hiruzen barked. Summon the council, 10 minutes. Any who refuse will forfeit their seats. Hi, Hokage-sama, council chambers. 10 minutes later, the chamber filled with restless murmurs. Clan heads, advisors, and civilians alike wondered at the urgency. Silence fell as Hiruzen entered, a spark in his eyes unseen for years. Koharu leaned forward. Hokage-sama, why was this meeting called? Hiruzen settled into his chair. Because an old friend has returned. He has words, particularly for the civilian side, whose interference undermines my authority. One civilian sneered openly. Of course we took your power. Why should shinobi hog all the benefits while civilians suffer? We deserve control. Gasps filled the room at his boldness, but Hiruzen only smiled thinly. So you admit your crimes, good, it will make this easier, bring him in. The ANBU opened the doors. Naruto stepped through. The chamber erupted in gasps. Even Danzo, usually unreadable, paled with fear. Hashirama-sama, many voices cried. Naruto chuckled softly. No, though I may resemble him, I am his son Naruto Senju. You too, he pointed at Koharu and Himura, should remember. You once served under my uncle Tobirama. The advisors smiled faintly. So the legacy continues. And yes, we see you still wear your father's necklace. Naruto touched the pendant, closing his eyes. He lives through me. With this, he always stands beside me in battle. Tsume Inuzuka suddenly barked. What is happening? How can a man supposedly dead for 50 years stand here? Naruto turned, offering a half-bow. And you are? Her cheeks warmed under his gaze. Tsume Inuzuka, head of the Inuzuka clan, Senju-sama. A pleasure, Naruto said, before sweeping his gaze across the others. And the rest? One by one, they introduced themselves. Hayashi Hyuga, Shikaku Nara, Inoichi Yamanaka, Shibaya Burame, Chozo Akimichi. Together, they bowed. Welcome, Senju-sama. Before Naruto could respond, a civilian woman screeched shrilly. Enough of this, stop ignoring us. We demand. Her words choked off as wooden branches erupted from her chair, silencing and restraining her. The chamber froze in awe of the casual Mokutan display. Naruto fixed the civilian side of the council with a sharp glare, his voice cold but commanding. You civilians forget your place. This village is not run by you. It stands because of the Hokage and the shinobi who defend it. You might complain about them, you might even resent their presence, but when war or invasion comes, it is those same shinobi who give their lives to protect you. The privileges they receive are not handouts. They're earned through blood, through sacrifice, through the risk they shoulder every mission. The clan heads, the advisors, even Sarutobi himself gave approving nods. Naruto pressed on. Because of short-sighted interference, our academy has grown weak. Our genin suffer a coin-flip chance at survival, and the very foundation of our shinobi system has eroded. If this continues, the security of the village will collapse, and the ideals my father fought for will be lost. Tobirama himself made it clear. Civilian council seats only matter during wartime. We are not at war. So, as head of the Senju, I move to strip you of your positions. And you, Danzo, don't think I haven't noticed the rot clinging to you. I can feel the corruption in your very chakra. You've chipped away at the will of fire my father left behind. Cross me, try to undermine this village again, and I'll personally carve my father's values into your skull. Danzo scowled, jaw tightening. That damn Senju, he could ruin everything. Hiruzen clapped his hands, smiling. Well spoken, Naruto-sama. Who among us votes in favor of removing the civilians and Danzo from this council? Every clan head and advisor raised their hands. Not one wavered. The decision was unanimous, leaving Danzo and the civilian side stewing in frustration. Then it's decided. Civilians and Danzo, you are hereby dismissed. You will never sit in this chamber again. ANBU escort them out. Masked figures appeared instantly, moving the dismissed members out. Danzo's narrowed eyes locked with Naruto's one last time. Naruto caught the look and knew immediately Danzo wouldn't stop scheming. He'd have to watch him closely. Once the chamber settled, Hayashi Hyuga spoke up. Senju-sama, now that you've returned, what are your plans? Naruto's expression softened into a confident smile. Simple. I intend to restore Konoha to its prime, with the help of my old friend Hiruzen. The room seemed to brighten with cautious hope. Everyone smiled, except Shikaku, who frowned thoughtfully. Forgive me if this sounds troublesome, but why reappear after so many years? And how do you look younger than Hokage-sama? By now, you should be his age. Naruto chuckled and eased into a seat. Since I plan to rebuild this village, you all deserve to know part of the truth. A shinobi keeps his secrets, but I'll give you the shortened version. And so he told them what he had told Hiruzen in private, how Mito had sealed the Kyuubi within him, how a sealing mishap occurred, and how he had ultimately locked himself inside the scroll of sealing to preserve both himself and the village's future. Everyone except Hiruzen sat in stunned silence, admiration dawning across their faces. Koharu leaned forward. Mito was unmatched with seals. When did you become so skilled? Naruto tapped his chin. I mastered sealing at 15. Trapped in that limbo-like state, I continued refining my craft. I suppose you could say I became a god of seals. Shikaku let out a sigh. Troublesome as ever. The others chuckled at his remark. Shibai spoke next, his calm tone carrying logic. It seems pointless to put you through the academy or testing, Senju-sama. May I ask, what rank do you wish to assume? Naruto gave an easy smile. Jonin, with travel rights. I'd like to move from team to team, offering guidance where I can. Would that be possible, Hiruzen? The Hokage nodded warmly. That can be arranged. In fact, graduation and team placement happen tomorrow. You're welcome to attend. But tell me, how do you plan on announcing your return to the people? Naruto laughed. By walking among them, just as my father once did. I'll assess our defenses, study the state of the village, and help those in need. A simple approach, but the most effective. Everyone agreed. The plan was straightforward yet wise. With that, Sarutobi concluded, if nothing else remains, this meeting is adjourned. The chamber emptied, leaving Naruto and Hiruzen to stroll together through Konoha. They spoke of old times, old battles, old scars. Later, Naruto excused himself. He had someone else to see. Hospital. As Naruto entered the waiting area, the atmosphere shifted instantly. Gasps, murmurs, whispers spread among the patients and staff. Is that Hashirama himself? No, it must be his son, but how does he still look so young? Naruto chuckled quietly at the comments. Stepping up to the receptionist, he asked for Tsunade. The woman nodded quickly, eyes wide, and moments later the sound of sharp heels echoed against tile. Tsunade appeared, froze, and gasped. Then her shock turned into pure fury. Naruto, you let me suffer all these years, she screamed, swinging a fist meant to shatter stone. The waiting room braced for impact, but it never came. Naruto caught her punch effortlessly, standing unmoved. He grinned. Good to see you too, Tsunade. Been keeping well. Her fist lowered as she glared. 50 years and that's your greeting. Look at me, I've aged into a damn grandma while you stroll in looking 18. So unfair. Maybe I should slap a jutsu on you, make you look as old as Hiruzen. You are technically 68. Hands raised in mock defense, Naruto laughed. That won't be necessary, sister. Let's take this to your office before we cause more of a scene. Glancing back, Tsunade noticed the smirks and barely suppressed laughter filling the room. Face flushed, she grabbed Naruto's hand. Fine, but it better be one hell of an explanation, you infuriating brat. The waiting room erupted in laughter as the two disappeared down the hall. The next day word spread quickly. The son of Hashirama had returned. Hearts swelled with hope, and the will of fire, dim for decades, flickered alive again. Walking the streets, Naruto observed much. The buildings needed repairs. The defenses were weak. The village would require his full effort. Reviewing academy records later with Hiruzen only deepened his concerns. Teachers played favorites. Some sabotaged students. The curriculum was watered down to uselessness. When he asked why, Sarutobi explained the aftermath of the Uchiha massacre, but gaps in the story left both men uneasy. Together, they resolved to watch Danzo closely. The next morning, the Hokage's office gathered with Jonin ready to test their new teams. Naruto joined them. Allow me to introduce Naruto Senju, Hiruzen announced. Many of you may not know him, but he is Hashirama's son, preserved through sealing. The Jonin bowed, impressed by the figure in Hashirama's old armor. Naruto returned the gesture with a small nod. Though you all have genin to test today, Naruto has offered to help restore the strength this village once had. He's drafted a new training plan to rebuild Konoha's glory. Kakashi tilted his head. What exactly do you have in mind, Naruto? Naruto folded his arms. The truth is, this isn't just for genin. Every rank will have a system. Each promotion will bring harsher, more refined training. Genin, Chunin, Jonin, it doesn't matter. Strength must grow at every stage. Asuma leaned back. Makes sense. Too many shinobi have gotten complacent. If I remember right, your father drove his men to their limits in training. Naruto and Hiruzen both laughed. You don't know the half of it. Kurenai raised a brow. And what would this training involve? Naruto smirked. For starters, endless physical drills until collapse. Chakra control pushed until reserves are dry. Mastery of elemental affinities from a young age, instead of ignoring them at the academy. Students will also choose specialties, learning from their clans directly. And of course, difficulty scales with rank. The Jonin paled, except for Guy, who practically exploded with enthusiasm. Senju-sama burns with youth. YOSH, Naruto laughed again. I see some of you still embody the fire my father cherished. Hiruzen cleared his throat, somber now. Understand this, it may sound harsh, but Naruto and I grew up in the Warring States era. The Warring States, Kakashi muttered. Both men nodded, eyes shadowed by memory. Hiruzen gestured toward the scar across Naruto's face. That mark is a reminder of how close we came to death, again and again. It still amazes me that either of us lived long enough to see this day. And about our squads, Hokage-sama? Kurenai asked politely. Hiruzen chuckled softly. I seem to talk about the past more than I should whenever Naruto's around. The Jonin around the table laughed, while Naruto himself smirked. Kakashi, you'll lead Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai. Kurenai, you'll guide Hinata, Shino, and Kiba. Asuma, you'll take the Ino Shikacho trio. After distributing the teams, the Hokage dismissed them. Just before Kakashi could leave, Naruto stepped forward. Kakashi, I know about your constant lateness, and I'll be monitoring your team. I won't allow favoritism, especially not toward the last Uchiha. I know what lies under your headband, but the past only chains you. Look ahead. That's where the brighter path is. Now, shall we meet our students? Kakashi smiled faintly beneath his mask. Of course. Thank you, Naruto-sama. In you, I see Hashirama's spirit. I believe you'll restore Konoha's glory. Naruto nodded and sank into the ground with a wood release technique, while Kakashi vanished in a puff of smoke. Hiruzen could only shake his head. Naruto's composed, yet commanding presence reminded him so much of Minato. Academy, those are your teams. Your sensei will arrive soon, Uruka announced. He was about to sit when the floor beside him rippled and Naruto rose from the earth. Senju-sama, the class chorused. Naruto chuckled. Just Naruto, please, I'm already tired of formalities. A student raised his hand. Will you make us stronger? That depends. Why did you choose this path? Naruto asked. The boy thought, then replied, to protect my family and the village. Naruto's smile widened. The will of fire burns brightly in you. With my training, may it only grow stronger. He answered more questions until his senses caught Kakashi's chakra approaching. Moments later, Kakashi appeared. Team 7 with me. Meet me on the roof. My first impression, you suck. Kakashi vanished instantly, leaving the class in awkward silence until Naruto laughed. Come on, I'll escort you to him, Naruto said, waving Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai to follow. Uruka watched them leave, thinking, though still young, Naruto carries wisdom like the Hokage himself. It's a blessing to see Hashirama's legacy return. The next day, all teams were preparing for their survival tests. Naruto, unwilling to miss anything, created wood clones to observe each trial. His true self stayed with Team 7. His priority was to guide Sasuke away from hatred before it consumed him like Madara. Kakashi, may I conduct the bell test this time? Naruto asked. Kakashi's lone eye curved. By all means, your father created it after all. Naruto tied the 2 bells to his armor plate and explained the rules as Kakashi set a timer for noon. Attack me with intent to kill. Don't hold back. I can take it. Begin. The 3 genins scattered into the trees. Though Naruto sensed them easily, he still noted their decent attempts at concealment. At least they understand the basics, but against a censor like me, they're still exposed. He sat calmly in the clearing, waiting. Meanwhile, Sai found Sakura. We can't beat Naruto alone. Help me get the bells. Sakura hesitated. But what about Sasuke? Sai sighed. Always Sasuke, tell me, has he ever cared for you? Has he once shown love or listened when you confessed? Sakura bit her lip. No, not really. Exactly, he never will. Staying glued to him will only hold you back. Naruto wants to train us, but if we don't show resolve, he'll dismiss us. Tears welled in Sakura's eyes before she nodded. You're right. Sasuke can handle himself if he's so great. Sai patted her back with a small smile. Good, let's get those bells together. Naruto, watching, smirked. He was glad to see them working as a pair. Just then, a massive fireball roared toward him. Without thinking, he raised a wooden wall, blocking the flames. Sasuke, nice of you to show yourself. Give me a bell, I'm an Uchiha. I demand it. The wooden wall sank into the ground as Naruto's eyes hardened. I will not allow another Madara to rise. Sasuke, abandon your hatred. Let go of your brother, the future is brighter. Shut up, Senju. My hatred is my strength. I'll use it to kill Itachi. Kakashi, Sakura, and Sai stiffened at Sasuke's disrespect. Naruto simply stretched his shoulders. If you're so mighty, prove it. I won't move from this spot, and I'll only use one finger. Rage consumed Sasuke as he charged. Naruto dodged every strike effortlessly for minutes before flicking Sasuke's forehead. The force sent him crashing through several trees. The others gasped. Seeing their chance, Sakura and Sai launched their plan. Sai summoned ink tigers while Sakura rushed in with feints to grab the bells. Naruto dodged with precision, clearly impressed with their teamwork. When another ink beast charged, he dispelled it with a kick, only for Sai to follow through. Before they could land a decisive move, Sasuke unleashed another barrage. Fire release, Phoenix Sage Fire! Flames spread across the field. Without hesitation, Naruto shielded Sakura and Sai inside a wooden dome, enduring the onslaught. You're safe. You both pass, he assured them, making their eyes widen. But now I'll deal with Sasuke. They whispered their thanks as Naruto turned, his gaze cold. Sasuke, you disgust me, sacrificing comrades for your pride. Pitiful, they should be honored, Sasuke sneered. Naruto signaled Kakashi. Take them away, but let them watch, this lesson's for him. Kakashi gave a small nod and whisked Sakura and Sai aside. Naruto faced Sasuke. Lesson 1. Hatred doesn't strengthen you, it blinds you. He blurred forward, slamming his fist into Sasuke's gut. The boy collapsed, choking for air. Lesson 2. True strength comes from protecting others, the will of fire. Naruto dropped an elbow onto Sasuke's back, driving him into the ground. Lifting him by the hair, he stared into his hate-filled eyes. Final lesson, never underestimate your enemy. Never let anger control you. He hurled Sasuke skyward, formed a single seal, and conjured a water dragon from the very air. It smashed Sasuke through trees, leaving him broken and unconscious. The watchers were stunned. He made water from nothing. How powerful are you, Naruto Senju? Kakashi thought. Naruto retrieved Sasuke and healed him with steady chakra until the boy stirred. Kakashi sighed. Let's hope he remembers this. Sakura stepped forward shyly. Naruto-sama, could you train me? I want to be strong like you. I'll remember your lessons. Naruto patted her head with a warm smile. You'll go far, Sakura. Believe in yourself. And don't worry, I won't just train you. I'll train all of Konoha. I've already designed regiments for every level. Relief spread across her face. Naruto and Kakashi soon left to file their reports, leaving Team 7 deep in thought about their own reasons for becoming shinobi. Sasuke, though still clutching his hatred, now carried a faint doubt, an echo of Naruto's words buried deep inside him. Naruto, meanwhile, had only just begun his mission to reshape Konoha. It had been 6 months since Naruto's return, and in that time the Hidden Leaf had undergone remarkable change. Security was reorganized, shinobi were given stricter training regimens, and the academy itself was reshaped from the ground up. While each adjustment still needed fine-tuning, the results spoke for themselves. The academy no longer wasted its early years on lectures about history. Instead, children entered at age 6 and immediately began learning to unlock and mold their chakra. The first year focused on the leaf balancing and tree-walking drills until chakra control became second nature. By their second year, students were tested for elemental affinity. If none surfaced, the instructors kept watch for signs in later years. Once discovered, The remainder of that year was devoted to mastering basic elemental techniques. The third and fourth years expanded into taijutsu while still reinforcing previous lessons. Students were encouraged to discover fighting stances that suited their own bodies and instincts rather than forcing a single style on everyone. The last 2 years pulled everything together: combat, ninjutsu, and even history lessons to give them a sense of the world's conflicts. It was also when they received the genin training regimen, preparing them for real missions. Hiruzen Sarutobi had been nothing short of impressed by Naruto's reforms. He approved them almost immediately, knowing the academy would produce stronger graduates while also reducing casualties on the battlefield. The addition of structured physical regimens for every shinobi rank meant that not only would fewer weak genins slip through the system, but those who advanced would already have solid foundations. Naruto also reshaped village security. He proposed that ANBU and off-duty Jonin rotate shifts, protecting various districts of Konoha, with the most vital places, like the Hawkage Tower and the Academy, receiving additional guards. Initially, the ANBU grumbled at the change, but with Hiruzen's approval they complied. Within months, they began to appreciate the system. The increased vigilance flushed out numerous enemy agents who had been hiding inside the village, something that left the Hawkage deeply satisfied. On this particular morning, Naruto and Tsunade sat together at the Senju residence, sharing a quiet breakfast before their duties called. Tsunade would head to the hospital, while Naruto prepared to accompany Team 7 on their very first C-rank assignment. "This reminds me of when your father came back from Uzushiagakure," Naruto said with a faint smile. "He was carrying you in his arms. You were only a year old then." Tsunade sighed wistfully. "I wish my parents could see me now, but they vanished on a mission 8 years ago. After weeks with no word, they were presumed dead." Naruto's eyes softened. "I'm sorry for bringing up painful memories." She waved a hand. "Don't be, it's long in the past. But tell me about that day, when father returned." Naruto's lips curved into a nostalgic smile, and he leaned back. "All right, I had just finished training when—" Flashback Naruto at age 13, 55 years earlier, Naruto burst into the family room, eager to tell his parents about his latest accomplishment. "Tusan, Kasan, I created a new technique to use with my katana," and he stopped short, noticing unfamiliar faces. His older brother Takeo stood with Akemi, his mother's sister, and in Akemi's arms was a small child. Naruto flushed, scratching his cheek. Takeo, Akemi, when did you get back? And who's the baby?" Takeo chuckled, motioning him closer. At 5'8", dressed in a red and white formal kimono, he looked every bit the proud older brother. "This is Tsunade Senju, your niece. I want you to look after her whenever we can't." Naruto nodded immediately, extending a finger. Baby Tsunade wrapped her tiny hand around it, gurgling happily, which drew a warm smile from Naruto. "I'll protect her like a sister." Akemi, elegant with her long crimson hair flowing down her kimono, tilted her head. "Now then, show us this new technique. And may I see the blade you wield?" Naruto unstrapped the katana carefully. "She's picky about who handles her." The blade's voice rang clear in his head, amused. "It's fine, she may inspect me." "Correction," Naruto said sheepishly. "She says you're allowed." Akemi laughed, drawing the sword and gasping. "Kami, this is the raging whirlpool. How did you manage to earn such a weapon?" Hashirama and Mito exchanged knowing glances while Naruto explained. He spoke of his training with Kenshin over 2 months and how, at the end, he was entrusted with the legendary blade. He kept the spirit's true name secret as it had asked. Akemi returned the weapon with a smile. "Naruto, that sword rarely chooses anyone. You're gifted. Now show us what you've created." Naruto grinned. "Come on, everyone," he shouted, dashing outside as laughter followed. End of flashback. When Naruto finished, Tsunade had tears in her eyes, but a smile played on her lips. "Show me the technique yourself," he chuckled. "Figured you'd ask, and you probably want to see the katana too." "Caught me," she said with a smirk. They stepped into the backyard, the ground still scarred from old battles. Naruto drew Raging Whirlpool, its polished surface making Tsunade gasp. "Beautiful, isn't she?" Tsunade only nodded as Naruto shifted into the Raging Tide stance, eyes closing for a breath before snapping open with fierce focus. Blue chakra surged around the blade, laced with sparks of yellow. He twirled it fluidly before gripping it with both hands in reverse. Raging whirlpool style, tempest storm. A torrent of blue energy crackling with lightning ripped across the field, shattering the far trees. A thunderclap echoed as smoke and splinters filled the air. Every tree in a 2-meter radius was either cleaved or charred black. Naruto sheathed the sword calmly. "Not bad, huh? Not bad, that was insane," Tsunade exclaimed. Then her expression sobered. "Anyone ever survive that?" His face darkened. "You don't want to know. I was forced to use it once against a mob of 20 when I was 16. I still see it in my nightmares." "I understand," she said softly. They left for their duties in silence, Tsunade reflecting on the bloody Warring States era. The choices Naruto and Hiruzen once made would never be accepted in the current age, yet survival had demanded it. Hokage's office, the professor leaned back contentedly, puffing on his pipe. His desk was spotless, every mission organized, every report filed, and just one folder left. A knock on the door interrupted his peace. "Enter," Naruto strolled in. "Hey, old man, whoa, no paperwork. Even my father used to drown in it. What's your secret?" Hiruzen chuckled. "When you become Hokage, perhaps I'll tell you," Naruto grinned. "Fine, old monkey. So is that our mission file?" Before Hiruzen could reply, Team 7 filed into the office. Naruto turned to Kakashi. "So, how's the regimen I gave you working out?" Kakashi I smiled. "Sakura's improved her healing and genjutsu, though she's pestering me to learn your and Tsunade's strength techniques. Sai's illustrations have advanced, and Sasuke, well, his progress is staggering. 6 months of growth that looks like years' worth." Naruto caught Sai subtly forming an ANBU hand sign. "I'll talk later." Naruto and Hiruzen both blinked twice in acknowledgement. "And their taijutsu?" Naruto pressed. "With the chakra weights you insisted on, they're already hitting mid-Chunin speed when unburdened. They've mastered water walking too." Naruto nodded approvingly. "Good. Next, have them work on kunai balancing and spinning." Kakashi gave a short nod. "Understood. Hokage-sama, Team 7 is ready for a C rank." Hiruzen handed him the file. Kakashi scanned it. "An escort mission. Will accompany Tazuna to Wave Country and help him finish his bridge. Naruto is second in command, and if I'm incapacitated, he'll lead. He also has leave to visit Uzashigakure for 2 weeks, though we can summon him if an emergency arises." The briefing ended, but Hiruzen asked Naruto and Sai to remain. A barrier seal shimmered into place. Sai had something important to reveal, and this conversation was for their ears only. "Naruto, I want you to meet Sai, my informant within Danzo's root organization." Naruto turned toward the pale young man and gave him a sly grin. "So, what's the mummy plotting now? Let me guess. It's about Sasuke, isn't it?" Sai gave a short nod. "I would have contacted you sooner, but Danzo's been keeping a close watch on me. I think he's beginning to suspect I'm feeding information elsewhere. Anyway, after Sasuke returned home from that beating you gave him, which I must admit was entertaining, Danzo personally visited him. He offered Sasuke the strength to finally take down his brother." The words made both Sarutobi and Naruto stiffen. They spoke in unison. "Please tell us he turned it down." Sai's expression stayed flat as he shook his head. "No. I was there when Sasuke arrived. His hatred for Itachi and now you, Naruto, tipped the scales. His need for power outweighed everything else." Naruto opened his mouth to speak, but Sai lifted a hand, stopping him. "And before you ask, yes, it gets worse. Somehow, Danzo got hold of your father's genetic material and used it on Sasuke. I also managed to copy a few unsettling files I want you both to see." Sai tossed 2 folders onto the Hokage's desk. Hiruzen immediately began reading while Naruto groaned, rubbing his face in frustration. "Unbelievable. First he messes with the village my father built, now he's experimenting with his DNA. What's next? Was he the one who ordered the Uchiha massacre too?" Sarutobi gave Naruto a tired, pained smile, while Naruto threw his hands up in exasperation. "Oh, come on." The Hokage flipped open the second folder, his expression darkening as he scanned the contents. His gaze grew sharp and heavy as he turned to Sai. "Please tell me this report is false." Wordlessly, he handed the sheet to Naruto. The young man read it, his face hardening with anger before shoving it at Sai. Sai glanced at it, then nodded grimly. "It's true. Danzo's bandages hide the areas where he's been implanting Sharingan." Naruto growled through clenched teeth. That sick bastard, he needs to be stopped, but now isn't the right time. I'll keep an eye on Sasuke, try to drag him away from that hatred before it consumes him. By the way, what exactly did Danzo give him? Sai hesitated, then admitted in a flat tone, rumor says he's been taught some of Madara's techniques, and he already awakened a 3-Tomo Sharingan. Hiruzen exhaled heavily. Naruto, stay close to Sasuke. From what Sai describes, Danzo's 6-month training regimen is harsh, it forges strength quickly. If it comes down to it, you have permission to end him on the spot. Naruto nodded solemnly. Understood, Hokage-sama. Anything else? Nothing more right now, Sai replied. What are my orders? Remain in the shadows. Keep yourself unseen. You're my best chance to stay ahead of Danzo's schemes. Sai gave a slight bow before turning to Naruto. Shall we join the others? Naruto placed a hand on his shoulder. Brace yourself, this might make you sick the first time. A whirl of chakra engulfed them, vanishing in an Uzumaki-style shunshin. Sarutobi was left staring out the window, whispering to himself. Danzo, what game are you playing with Sasuke? Are you using him as a pawn or building something even darker? Where did you lose your way, old friend? At Konoha's gates, a spiraling shunshin burst into view, startling Team 7 and Tazuna. Naruto and Sai stepped out of it, though Sai looked pale and queasy. Please never again, Sai muttered. Naruto just laughed, but his eyes narrowed when he spotted the bottle of sake in Tazuna's hands. No alcohol on this mission, Tazuna-san. Hey! Tazuna protested, only for Naruto to snatch the bottle and smash it against the dirt. Naruto and Sasuke locked eyes, both glaring with unspoken challenge. I'll be watching you, each thought. Sasuke scoffed, dressed in his dark new attire, and turned away. Naruto simply smiled at Kakashi. Shall we get going? Kakashi nodded. All right, team, let's move. At civilian pace, it'll take us 4 days to reach our destination. The first day passed uneventfully. Naruto and Kakashi urged the group to stay sharp while training lightly. Sakura asked Naruto about the Senju's famed strength, hoping to learn it herself, but he told her she wasn't ready, though he did help her refine her healing arts. Sai spent his time perfecting his ink creatures to scout ahead. Sasuke worked on hand seal speed, which Naruto watched with wary interest. By the second day, they came across an odd puddle, strange, since it hadn't rained in a week. As 2 masked assassins leapt from it toward Kakashi, Sasuke immediately jumped ahead, weaving seals. Naruto shouted for him to wait, but Sasuke ignored him. Fire style. Great fire destruction. The demon brothers barely turned before an inferno engulfed them. Kakashi and Naruto dragged Tazuna, Sai, and Sakura to safety. The attackers had no time to scream before they were incinerated, trees around them catching fire until Naruto doused them with a water jutsu. He then rounded on Sasuke, furious. What the hell were you thinking? You nearly got us all killed. And worse, you destroyed our chance at gathering information. Sasuke's Sharingan spun as he sneered. Stay out of my way, Senju. You don't matter to me. Kakashi's tone cut like steel. You endangered your client, your team, and me. I will be reporting this to the Hokage. Sasuke scoffed and rejoined formation. Sakura stared at him in shock, her long-held crush finally shattering. The boy she had obsessed over was no hero, he was reckless and dangerous. Tazuna sighed under Naruto and Kakashi's stares. Fine, I'll explain. Wave is broke. That bastard Gatou has been bleeding us dry. Even with stipends from Uzu, it's not enough. Please, my daughter and grandson are counting on me. Naruto and Kakashi exchanged a look, then nodded. Good news, Naruto said. I'll be visiting Uzu soon. I'll see your village gets the support it needs. Kakashi added, but this mission is now ranked higher. You'll need to pay accordingly, especially since the demon brothers usually work under Zabuza. Tazuna's eyes welled with tears. Thank you, you don't know what this means. The following day, after some rest and a boat ride toward the bridge, they found themselves walking a misty path when Kakashi's instincts screamed. Down, he shouted. Everyone ducked, except Naruto, who drew his katana and deflected a massive blade. It embedded deep in a tree behind him. A deep voice followed. Well, now didn't expect to run into this. Zabuza stood, narrowing his eyes at Naruto's armored form and drawn blade. Naruto smirked. Zabuza Mamachi, I presume. I suggest you walk away and leave our client alone. Not a chance, Zabuza growled. A Hashirama lookalike standing before me, I've been itching for a real sword fight. Here's the deal. If you win, I'll join you with my partner. If I win, I take your client and kill Sharingan Kakashi and his brats. Naruto glanced at Kakashi, who gave a small nod. Naruto smiled thinly. Then let's play. But I'll warn you now, you won't beat me. Zabuza laughed, wrenching his Zanbato free. You're what, 18? No way you can match the first Hokage's legacy. Naruto leaned forward, katana glowing faintly. Want a secret, Zabuza? Zabuza arched a brow. Go on, Naruto's grin sharpened. I'm his son. In a flash, Naruto charged, forcing Zabuza to block a furious overhead strike. Steel clashed against steel, water splashing beneath their feet. Sparks lit the misty air as their blades collided again and again. From the sidelines, Kakashi folded his arms. He's toying with him, Sakura frowned. What do you mean? He looks like he's giving it everything. Sai shook his head. No, you saw that Ocean's fury technique earlier, he was a blur. Right now, he's holding back, fighting at Zabuza's pace. Meanwhile, Sasuke's Sharingan glowed with resentment. I'll surpass you, Senju. I'll surpass Itachi. Danzo will give me the power I deserve, or I'll take his head myself. Back on the water, Naruto ducked low, his blade in a reverse grip. In a blink, he pierced Zabuza's side, blood spraying into the mist. The water beneath them turned crimson. Zabuza staggered but chuckled darkly. That hurt, brat. Looks like you've got me. First blood's yours. Naruto gave a small grin as he drew his katana, the blade flashing before Zabuza let out a pained grunt. Consider yourself lucky, I didn't aim for anything vital. Now let me patch you up. With a quick flick, Naruto cleaned the steel before sliding it back into its sheath. His hands began to glow with a soft green light as he pressed them over Zabuza's wound, the torn flesh slowly knitting back together. Take it easy for the next day or so. If you strain yourself, that cut might open again. Anyway, we've still got to get Tazuna home to Wave. After that, I'm heading to Uzu. Zabuza gave a small nod, then gestured toward a tree on the far side of the bridge. A masked figure stepped out of the shadows, clearly a hunter nin. This is Haku, Zabuza introduced. One of the last survivors of the bloodline purge in Kiri. I went rogue after Yagura, the Three-Tails Jinchuriki, crushed me when I tried to take his life. Naruto frowned. Strange, the Three-Tails isn't usually so bloodthirsty. Something's off. Once I reach Uzu, I'll ask the Uzukage about it. Afterwards, I'll report back to the Hokage. He sighed. Great, another village that needs saving. Guess it falls on me again. Still, I won't ignore another Jinchuriki. Zabuza waved a hand in front of him. Oi, you listening? Earth to Senju, Naruto chuckled. Sorry, just talking with a certain fox. Thanks for the info, though. It gives me a lead. Come on, I'll introduce you both to Kakashi and the team. The two missing nin followed as Naruto led them toward the others. Kakashi raised an eyebrow but nodded once introductions were made. Glad to have you both with us, Kakashi said. And no, Sasuke, we're not killing them. Not every enemy stays your enemy forever. Naruto smirked. Anyway, I'll need to leave for Uzu soon and then Kiri. Tazuna-san, could you guide the others back to your home? I'd like a word with Kakashi in private. Of course, Tazuna replied, motioning for the group to follow. Come on, kids. When they were gone, Kakashi's visible eye narrowed. So, what's on your mind, Naruto? Naruto's tone hardened. Keep a close eye on Sasuke. His mindset reminds me too much of Madara's. If he keeps going down that path, I might be forced to act. Kakashi's eye widened. You can't be serious. You'd face execution for something like that. Naruto nodded grimly. Normally, yes. But I've been given clearance by Hokage-sama himself to eliminate threats if necessary, even if it's an Uchiha. Just promise me you'll watch him. I can leave a wood clone to stay here if you need. Kakashi hesitated, then exhaled. All right, I'll do what I can. If you'd leave a clone, it would ease my mind. When do you plan on coming back? Naruto shrugged. Hard to say. The Nine-Tails is insisting I deal with Yagura, but the details aren't for open ears. Once I reach Uzu, I'll write to Hiruzen about my extended mission. You mean your tenant? Kakashi whispered. Naruto cut him off. Yes, but that stays between me, Hiruzen, the clan heads, and you, no one else. I want it kept quiet. I'll rejoin your team once I return. Kakashi gave a small nod. Good luck, Naruto. And to you, Naruto said, forming a wood clone that fell into step with Kakashi while the original dashed off at top speed toward Uzu. Yuzukage Tower. 30 minutes later, a young woman with vibrant red hair and striking violet eyes sat behind her desk, pen scratching across paperwork. A knock at the door interrupted her, and her secretary poked her head in. Yuzukage-sama, a Naruto Senju is here to see you. The woman's eyes widened. Send him in. Naruto entered with a relaxed smile. So, Karen is no longer Yuzukage. I feared she might have passed on. The Yuzukage gave a soft nod. Sadly, she did, but shouldn't you be much older? Naruto laughed lightly. That's a long story, but before I explain, how about your name first? And maybe a tour. I'd like to see some old friends who taught me decades ago. My name is Kushina Uzumaki, Senju-sama. I'd be glad to show you around. Tell me, who were your teachers? Naruto bowed respectfully. Pleasure, Kushina-sama. My mentors were Daisuke, Kenshin, and Yuzuki. She was already elderly when I trained under her. I take it she's passed as well. Kushina nodded solemnly. Yes, but your name is still spoken with respect here. Karen always spoke highly of you, and the others have wondered if you'd ever return. Some even whisper you are the wielder of the raging whirlpool. Naruto smirked. Guilty. But first, I'll need to send a letter to Hiruzen. Also, Gatou has been stealing your village's funds and bleeding Wave dry. Kakashi's team is already working on it, but I suggest sending support of your own. I see, Kushina replied. Then I'll dispatch ANBU to deliver food and supplies. As for Gatou, I'll assign a mission to Kakashi's team to deal with him. Naruto accepted paper and ink from her desk, quickly writing out his letter before sending it off with a hawk. Shall we go then, Senju-sama? Just Naruto, he replied with a small chuckle. I've grown tired of titles. Very well, Naruto, Kushina said warmly. A reunion awaits. As they walked through the village, the two traded stories. Older villagers gasped upon seeing Naruto and hurried off to spread the word. Hashirama's son had returned. By the end of the day, the entire village would know. So let me get this right, Kushina said, shaking her head in disbelief. You and Mito botched a sealing ritual that let you glimpse the future. You ended up hosting a fox spirit, and you've only been preserved all this time because you put yourself in stasis, Naruto laughed. That about sums it up. I may look 18, but trust me, I've got the wisdom of someone twice Hiruzen's age. Kushina chuckled, but her expression soon sobered. Since you shared something heavy, I'll share mine. She paused, her eyes hardening. Naruto rested a hand on her shoulder to reassure her. Thank you, she whispered. This isn't easy for me. It's why I carry the title of Yuzukage. And so, with a trembling breath, she told her story. Flashback, the third shinobi war. Hold the line. Don't let Iwa break through, Kushina shouted. Steel clashed, screams echoed, and the battlefield stank of blood and fire. The ground was soaked red, jutsu tearing the land apart as both sides clashed with merciless fury. The Uzumaki's sealing techniques turned enemy attacks back upon them, buying precious time. Kushina weaved through the chaos, her chains lashing out, crushing enemies like ragdolls and skewering others. She fought with savage precision, a rallying point for her troops. For Uzu, she cried. For Yuzi, her soldiers roared back. But the line was faltering. Just as despair set in, a yellow flash streaked across the battlefield. Tri-pronged kunai rained down, followed by bursts of blinding speed and crimson sprays of blood. Cheers erupted. The yellow flash had arrived. Within minutes, the Iwa army lay in ruins. Silence fell across the battlefield at last. Kushina ran to Minato, relief washing over her until she saw the blood pouring from his body. She caught him as he collapsed, her heart shattering. Stay with me, Minato-kun, we can save you. He smiled faintly, voice weak. It's too late, I pushed too far. At least I got to fight by your side. Don't say that. We were supposed to marry, have a family. He coughed, blood staining his lips. Promise me you'll live on, find happiness, even if it's not with me. His hand brushed her cheek one last time before his eyes dimmed. With his final breath, he kissed her softly, and then he was gone. Kushina's wails carried over the silent field, her comrades gathering around her, mourning alongside their grieving leader. Flashback end. Naruto held Kushina close, gently rubbing her back as she cried into his chest. SHH, it's okay, Kushina. Let it all out. I'm sorry for what you've lost. If you need someone to lean on, maybe I can be that person. Kurama snorted in the back of his mind. Smooth move, trying to flirt with her while she's mourning. Like that'll work. Quiet furball, Naruto thought back, suppressing a smirk. I feel bad about the timing too, but maybe this is what she needs. Kushina lifted her face, eyes swollen and wet with tears. Really? You'd do that for me? Others have tried, but I couldn't bear letting anyone close. Naruto smiled softly, glancing down at her petite frame. I can try. Maybe I'm the one Minato believed would be there for you. She sniffled and managed a weak laugh. But you're 68 years old, Naruto chuckled. Only in my head. Physically, I'm still just 18. Kushina dabbed her tears, smiling faintly. And I'm 25, doesn't that feel strange to you? Naruto shook his head. Like fine's sake, Kushina, you only get better with age. Her cheeks tinted red, and she gave him a playful punch to the arm. You're such a teaser. Fine, I'll give it a shot. One date, we'll see how it goes. Naruto almost choked. A date? Oh, come on, she said with a sly grin. Kurama cackled. Told you it would work. Kushina giggled, purring at the end. What? Isn't that what you were hinting at, Naruto-kun? Naruto rubbed the back of his neck, flustered. Okay, fine. One date. I'll be around for 2 weeks anyway. Yay! Kushina cheered, her sorrow fading into a bright smile. They suddenly noticed a crowd watching them. Both turned crimson and vanished in a shunshin, leaving the bystanders laughing. With Team 7, Zabuza and Haku inside Tazuna's home, Kakashi spoke with Zabuza while Haku and the others trained outside. With their former enemies now allies, Kakashi wasn't quite sure what direction to take. So, while we finish the bridge, what do we do about Gatou? Kakashi asked. Zabuza grinned beneath his bandages. That bloated pig. By tomorrow he'll be foaming at the mouth that Tazuna's still alive. He'll probably throw more mercs or rogue shinobi our way. Wonderful, Kakashi muttered. He might even send men after Tazuna's family. Naruto, what's your take? A wooden clone emerged from the wall, making Zabuza nearly jump out of his skin. Tsunami and Tazuna laughed at his reaction. Damn it, you nearly killed me, Zabuza barked, clutching his chest. Clone Naruto chuckled. Relax, just a clone, the real me's back in Uzu. Anyway, I can guard the house whenever. Sasuke's out training, thankfully not setting the forest on fire this time. And his mood? Kakashi pressed. The clone shrugged. Keeps mumbling about destroying me and his brother. Right on cue, Sasuke's voice carried from the yard. Kakashi-sensei. I demand you help me, Kakashi sighed as the clone melted back into the wall. Guess I'd better, he won't shut up otherwise. At least Naruto's clone is watching. Zabuza crossed his arms. That kid's obsession reminds me of the old stories about Madara. Kakashi's eye narrowed. And that's exactly what Naruto and I are trying to prevent. Come if you want to see a brat get humbled. Zabuza smirked. Oh, I wouldn't miss it. I love seeing someone get knocked down a peg. Naruto's clone sweat-dropped at Zabuza's sudden enthusiasm, but followed to see what Sasuke wanted. Before they reached the yard, an Uzu Anbu appeared in a blur, making Kakashi and Zabuza tense instantly. Stand down. I'm not your enemy. Which of you is Hadake Kakashi? Kakashi stepped forward. That's me. And you are? Anbu of Uzu, I was ordered to deliver this. The masked shinobi handed him a sealed scroll. Kakashi opened it, scanning the contents before smiling behind his mask. Thank you. Tell your Yuzukage we accept. The Anbu nodded. Hi, also Naruto-sama sends his regards. With that, he vanished. Team 7 and Haku approached, curious. Who was that, sensei? Sakura asked. A mission order, Kakashi replied. We've been tasked to eliminate Gatou and his men. This won't be practice, it'll be real combat. Killing will be involved. Sakura paled, though Sai calmly placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Don't worry, I'll protect her. Sasuke smirked darkly at the chance for bloodshed. Meanwhile, Zabuza and Haku exchanged knowing glances. What's with you two? Kakashi asked. Zabuza grinned. We used to work for Gatou. If we go back to him, we can plant the idea that Wave is on the brink of rebellion. If Uzu's already involved, his men will be walking straight into a trap. Haku added, that way your students won't have to kill as much. I can see some of them aren't ready for that weight yet. Kakashi nodded thoughtfully. That could work. How long to set it up? 4 days at most, but we'll need to make Gatou believe Tazuna's handled, Zabuza replied. Suddenly, another clone slipped out of a tree, startling everyone except Kakashi and Zabuza. I can help with that. I'll make a fake Tazuna, complete with his voice. You hand him over, and when Gatou orders his execution, you kill me. branches sprouted from the clone, twisting into a near-perfect copy of Tazuna, sake bottle included. "How's this?" it asked in Tazuna's voice. Sakura frowned. "Too high-pitched." The clone slurred in a deeper, drunken tone. "I'm the great bridge builder Tazuna. I demand protection worthy of my greatness." Sasuke smirked while the others burst out laughing. "Damn kid, you're good," Zabuza chuckled. The fake Tazuna staggered over, clutching his bottle. Zabuza snatched it and smashed it, only for another bottle to form instantly in the clone's hand. "Ha, you'll never take my sake," it yelled, stumbling. Even Haku shook his head. "It even smells drunk. Kami, let's just do this already." Kakashi nodded. "All right, Zabuza, Haku, take the clone to Gatou. We'll train here until you return." "Time for lunch," Tsunami called from the house. "After lunch," Kakashi amended, waving his team inside. Konoha Hokage's office. A hawk tapped at the window, and Hiruzen Sarutobi let it in. He removed the message tied to its leg, released the bird, and opened the scroll. "Hokage-sama, I am currently in Uzu with Kushina, the new Uzukage. Before arriving, I fought Zabuza and won a bet that brought him and Haku to our side. He's given me valuable intel on Yagura and the bloodline wars. Kurama believes Yagura's strange behavior is linked to the three tales sealed within him. I ask permission to travel to Kiri to help free them from this conflict and negotiate a treaty with both Konoha and Uzu. Please respond quickly." Naruto Senju Hiruzen chuckled softly, setting the letter aside. "Always keeping me busy, eh, Naruto? With Uzu already allied, adding Kiri wouldn't hurt. Maybe even Wave 2. He began drafting a reply, granting Naruto permission and wishing him luck. Another letter was prepared for Jiraiya, requesting updates from his spy network, especially with the Chunin exams just months away. Once finished, he tied the messages to hawks and sent them off. With a sigh, he leaned back, pulled open a drawer, and retrieved an orange book with a grin. "You never disappoint, Keiko-chan," he muttered with a pervy giggle. Zabuza and Haku Gatou's office. The two entered with the drunken Tazuna clone in tow. Gatou smirked from behind his desk, clapping his hands together. "Excellent! I knew you wouldn't fail me. Now we just need to deal with that half-built bridge." The clone stumbled forward, slurring. "You'll never touch my bridge. Even if I die, my people will rise against you, Gatou," Gatou sneered. "Then I'll be sure to pay your family a visit, old man. That should silence them." "Leave my family out of this," the clone barked. "Zabuza," Gatou said coldly. "Silence him." Zabuza nodded and struck the clone's neck, dropping it unconscious without dispelling it. "Now," Gatou continued, turning serious, "tell me about this so-called rebellion. Is it real? I can't imagine these peasants daring to rise against me." Haku bowed his head slightly. "Some villagers saw us with Tazuna and assumed he'd been taken. Word is spreading they're gathering in secret." It was a half-truth, one that Gatou would hopefully swallow. Considering the man's greed and paranoia, Zabuza and Haku's unease settled slightly. "How long will this take? And damn it, I told you to keep it quiet," Gatou barked, slamming a hand on his desk. Zabuza cleared his throat, voice calm but edged. "I can't say for certain, Gatou, but if I had to estimate, in about 4 days they'll have enough fighters gathered to put a serious dent in your men." A wicked grin spread across Gatou's face. "Perfect. I'll pull together 3/4 of my forces, drill them, and in 4 days they'll march through that village. When we're done, nothing will remain. No houses, no people. As for Tazuna, lock him away in a dark cell where he won't see the outside again. We'll make an example of him before the attack." Zabuza's eyes narrowed. "And our arrangement, Gatou? Don't tell me you've forgotten the payment." With a low grumble, Gatou crouched by his desk, unlocked a small safe, and tossed 2 heavy bags of ryo across the room. The pair caught them effortlessly. "Don't think I trust you. My men will keep their eyes on both of you, and I expect you to fight alongside them when Wave burns. Now leave." Without a word, Zabuza and Haku inclined their heads and stepped out, heading down toward the dungeon, where they placed Tazuna's clone into a cell just as instructed. The clone winked and gave them a thumbs up, earning faint smiles from the pair. "Gatou, you disgusting bastard. I still can't believe I agreed to this farce. To drain a village dry, then torch it to ash when it's no longer profitable. Men, women, children slaughtered like nothing. When I finally get my hands on you, I'll peel your flesh away piece by piece." Zabuza's thoughts seethed with rage as he walked away. 4 days later, Uzu 4 days had passed since Naruto received Hiruzen's letter authorizing his side mission. It was also 4 days since he reunited with Daisuke and Kenshin. Both were well into old age, their bodies frail though their spirits were still sharp. Even if they had wanted to spar with Naruto, their aging frames wouldn't hold up to the strain. Instead, the three spent hours sharing lunch and memories. Naruto explained his disappearance, his youth, and why time had treated him differently. In turn, he learned much about this new age and how the world had shifted since he sealed himself away. Though their reunion only lasted a few hours, it was something Naruto treasured deeply. Now he was preparing for his date with Kushina, something that Kurama still couldn't wrap his head around. Naruto had been given a room at Kushina's estate for his 2-week stay. As he dressed in black trousers, a crisp blue shirt, and polished black shoes, a strange warmth welled up in his chest, a connection that tethered him to Kushina. He wanted this feeling to linger. A knock on the door cut into his thoughts. "Are you ready, Naruto?" Kushina's voice called from the other side. "Just a second," he answered, finishing with his shoes before opening the door, only to freeze at the sight before him. Kushina stood in a red and white skirt with a matching top, her figure accentuated in ways that made Naruto's cheeks burn crimson. Her long red hair was tied high, and her violet eyes shimmered with playful light. Striking a teasing pose, she asked, "Does Naruto-kun approve of the view?" Naruto stammered, then managed a grin. "Very much so. Let's go, Kushina-chan." He extended his hand, which she accepted, and together they strolled into the village streets. Onlookers smiled, whispering to one another that perhaps Hashirama's son would finally bring joy back to their Uzukage's life. Restaurant. The moment they entered, the host recognized them instantly, collecting menus and guiding them into a private dining room. The setup was intimate, just one table for two, covered with a white cloth, roses in a vase, candles flickering, and soft music drifting in the air. Once seated, the host bowed. "Take your time, your server will arrive shortly. Enjoy your evening." When the waiter stepped in, pad in hand, Naruto and Kushina were ready. "Welcome, my name is Hiroshi and I'll be serving you tonight. Shall I take your orders?" Naruto nodded politely. "I'll have the Judon Donberry and bring us a bottle of your best sake." Hiroshi jotted it down, then turned. "And for you, Uzukage-sama," Kushina smiled. "Please, just Kushina. I'll take the sashimi with rice on the side." The waiter bowed. "Of course. Anything else?" Both shook their heads and Hiroshi slipped away, leaving silence behind. Kushina finally broke it. "I've been curious, what was it really like, living during the Warring States? I've only ever heard fragments from Karen and read accounts in books." Naruto's expression darkened. "It's not easy to speak of. Even now, the things I had to do haunt me." Kushina placed her hands gently over his. "If it's too painful, I understand." He shook his head. "No, father always said the past is heavy, but the future can be brighter. And now, here I am, in that brighter time." She nodded softly, then motioned to the scar trailing down his right eye. "Maybe you can start by telling me about that?" Tracing the scar with a finger, Naruto exhaled. He spoke of the reckless battle where his overconfidence cost him dearly, earning the scar and nearly his eye. He told her about the blood-soaked fields, the massacres ordered to protect Konoha and its allies, and the rivers of crimson that haunted his memories. Kushina's heart ached with every word. "I'm sorry for dragging you into such painful memories," she whispered. "Losing Minato was terrible, but compared to what you've endured—" "Don't belittle your loss," Naruto replied gently. "He was your first love and you'll always carry him with you. But sharing this with you lifts a weight from me. I feel lighter." Kushina's cheeks flushed faintly as an unfamiliar warmth bloomed inside her. "What is this? I haven't felt this way since Minato. Could this be the bond he wished for me to find?" Her thoughts faded as the waiter returned, setting down their meals and sake. Naruto thanked him, then poured them both a glass. They toasted to Minato's memory before eating, feeding one another between soft laughter and quiet conversation. By the end, the food was gone, the sake drained, and they sat in silence, hands clasped, eyes meeting with shy smiles. When Naruto paid and they walked home, Kushina squeezed his hand. "Tonight was wonderful. Maybe you are the one Minato spoke of." Naruto shook his head gently. "Don't rush, take all the time you need. If it's not meant to be, then at least we'll always share this bond of friendship." She sighed, conflicted. You're right, but I can't shake this connection. I haven't felt it in years. At her home, Naruto opened the door, letting her step in first. Think it over, Kushina. I'll never disrespect Minato's wishes. No matter what, I'll be here. Kushina leaned forward, kissed his cheek, and smiled softly. Thank you, Naruto-kun, good night. Good night, Kushina-chan. With Team 7 and Kakashi elsewhere, Tazuna, Tsunami, Inari, and Team 7 gathered around the table, reviewing the plan for the dawn assault. Gatou's forces were expected to move at first light, and Naruto's clone of Tazuna had already smuggled the details back, which he relayed to Kakashi. In the days leading up to the attack, Naruto had taken time to speak to Inari about grief and strength, helping the boy see beyond his pain. Now Inari proudly called him brother, which filled Naruto with warmth. He also spoke with Sai, digging into the truth about what Danzo had drilled into Sasuke's head. Sai shared what he could, though some answers remained beyond him, for now. Flashback 2 days earlier, a shadow clone of Naruto leaned quietly against a tree, watching his team spar. His sharp eyes caught something unsettling. Sasuke was beginning to mimic a taijutsu stance that bore an uncanny resemblance to Madara Uchiha's style. Naruto narrowed his eyes. This wasn't something he could just ignore. There was only one person he could turn to for answers. Sai, can I speak with you inside for a moment? Sai stopped mid-fight, ducking under Sasuke's cheap shot before turning toward Naruto. Sasuke smirked, but the look Naruto shot him, laced with killing intent, was enough to make him step back. Sai gave a small nod of gratitude and followed Naruto into the building. The moment they were inside, Naruto activated a barrier seal for privacy. What is it you need, Naruto-sama? Sai asked in his usual calm tone. Information, Naruto replied firmly. Tell me everything you know about Sasuke's training. I need answers before this spirals out of control. Sai hesitated, then shook his head. That may not be possible. Sasuke carries your father's DNA, and rumors say it could grant him abilities similar to Madara's in his final days, including the Rinnegan. Naruto's eyes widened, his breath catching in shock. The eyes of the sage. No way, Sai's expression remained grim. I'm afraid so. Worse still, Danzo is digging into ways to forcefully awaken it. He's even preparing to push Sasuke toward awakening the Mangekyou Sharingan. Naruto's voice trembled with anger. That would only drag him deeper into hatred. Damn it, Danzo, what are you scheming? Sai tilted his head. Would you like to hear the rest? Naruto let out a bitter laugh. Might as well, not like it can get any worse. It does, Sai continued. Danzo has commissioned armor and weapons modeled after Madara's, even instructing Sasuke to grow his hair so he resembles him more closely. I haven't uncovered the full scope of his plan yet. Naruto buried his face in his palm and groaned. So, let me get this straight. Danzo is shaping Sasuke into a living replica of Madara, teaching him everything in his arsenal. Sai gave a small nod. Yes. I strongly advise assigning ANBU to monitor Sasuke after this mission. If his Mangekyou awakens, we may all be in serious danger. Naruto inhaled deeply, masking his rage behind a forced smile. Sai, you've been invaluable. Join me, and together we'll bring Danzo down. Sai accepted Naruto's hand with a firm shake. I will. When I first joined Root, I was broken. It was the Sandaime and his students who saved me. Tsunade healed me. Jiraiya removed the binding seals, though false ones remained. Danzo has been undermining this village for too long. I'll stand with you to restore it. Tears welled in Naruto's eyes, but they were born of gratitude, not sorrow. Thank you, Sai. You'll be a trusted ally. Flashback ends. Sai blinked back to the present, catching Kakashi's eyes on him. Sai, were you even paying attention? Kakashi asked. Sai smirked. Did you say something, Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi's sweat dropped, while Sasuke smirked. The rest of the group broke into laughter, enjoying someone turning Kakashi's own words against him. Clearing his throat, Kakashi tried again. Well then, I'll repeat myself since Sai was lost on the road of life, Sai interrupted smoothly. Kakashi glared as chuckles spread among Tazuna's family and Team 7, Naruto blending into the wall with his laughter. Will you cut that out? Kakashi barked before exhaling heavily. As I was saying, here's the plan. Meanwhile in Konoha, the rising sun painted the village in gold as its people stirred awake. But inside the Hokage's office, Hiruzen Sarutobi was already buried under paperwork he despised. A knock on the window drew his attention. Sliding it open, he welcomed a familiar man with long white hair and crimson face markings. "Jirya, you arrived quickly. Your letter sounded urgent, sensei. What's going on?" Jirya asked, taking a seat. Hiruzen sighed, erecting a barrier seal before speaking. "Sai has been my eyes en route, keeping track of Danzo. He kept quiet for years, until Naruto's return stirred something in him. Now he's pulled Sasuke into his schemes." Jirya frowned, brushing a hand through his hair. "How bad is it?" "Sasuke already carries hate for his brother, but unless Danzo..." Hiruzen handed him 2 files. "Read these." As Jirya skimmed the pages, his face paled before twisting into anger. "Why the hell haven't you stopped him sooner? You think I don't want to?" Hiruzen snapped. "Danzo has already planted Hashirama's DNA into Sasuke. He's molding him into the next Madara. If I act recklessly, it could tear the village apart." "You're the Hokage." Jirya slammed the file down. "Step up, crush Danzo, and end this." Hiruzen slumped back, looking every bit his age. "I'm 68, Jirya, weakened. The council clipped my strength years ago. Even with Naruto's help, I'm not the man I used to be." Jirya's expression softened. "Then lean on me, sensei. I'll pause my spy work. Let's rebuild your strength together." "Danzo is only the first step." Hiruzen smiled faintly. "Then so be it. What's your plan?" "Present the Fire Daimyo with evidence. Once he authorizes execution, put Danzo in the bingo book. But beware, it may not be the real him." Hiruzen frowned. "That could take days. I'll use that time to infiltrate root, gather proof, and set charges. Do you have the base layout?" Hiruzen retrieved a rough map from his desk. "Not complete, but enough. Be careful, Danzo mustn't learn of this." Jirya tucked it away. "Leave it to me. And Sasuke? We could erase his memories and seal his bloodline," Jirya suggested firmly. Hiruzen's eyes widened. "Isn't that too extreme?" "No, we can't risk another Madara. Once sealed, he can be trained properly." Hiruzen lit his pipe, puffing thoughtfully. "You know me too well. I'll prepare the daimyo's request. Be careful, my student." "Always, sensei. Tsunade and I will stand by you." As Jirya left, Hiruzen stared out at the village, unease heavy in his chest. Team 7 and Kakashi, the group moved swiftly through the trees toward their objective, wiping out Gatou and his followers. The plan was simple. Strike while Zabuza, Haku, and most of the thugs marched to terrorize Wave. Meanwhile, Tazuna's family prepared for open rebellion, ready to risk their lives for freedom. From a high branch, Team 7 observed the mansion. Sasuke's impatience simmered. He looked ready to dive headfirst into the slaughter. "Kakashi-sensei, look," Sakura whispered, pointing. "Zabuza and Haku are dragging out Tazuna," Kakashi's brow furrowed. "And there's Gatou making a show of it. But where's Naruto's clone?" In the courtyard, Gatou strutted forward, reveling in the moment. He slapped the weary Tazuna across the face, mocking him. "Any last words, old man? Not that anyone cares." Clone Tazuna, beaten and battered, spat defiantly in his face. "See you in hell." Enraged, Gatou struck him, ordering Zabuza to execute him. Cheers of "Kill, kill, kill" roared through the crowd. Zabuza complied, his massive blade slicing cleanly. The head rolled to Gatou's feet, crushed beneath his heel. Drunk with victory, Gatou failed to notice there was no blood. "March, men. Wave will fall." As the army departed, Zabuza and Haku discreetly signaled Kakashi's team. The moment Gatou entered the mansion, Tazuna's corpse dissolved into wood, vanishing underground. Wave Country, the village, was calm for the moment. Uzu and Bu were moving through the streets, handing out vital supplies, food, fresh water, warm clothing, and medical aid for those in need. Still, despite the assistance, the ANBU noticed something strange. The healthier villagers kept glancing toward the horizon, restless, as if they were bracing for something inevitable. Their unease was soon explained when Tazuna stepped forward. Walking with his family, Tazuna greeted familiar faces before making his way to the town square. He cleared his throat loudly, calling for attention. "People of Wave," Tazuna's voice rang out, strong and unyielding. "We've suffered long enough under Gatou's tyranny. For months, he's crushed our spirits, stolen our livelihoods, and taken everything from us. And now, he plans to send his men here to burn our homes to the ground. I ask you, will we stand by and let that happen?" The villagers had already been gathering, clutching pitchforks, axes, and makeshift weapons. As his words echoed, their voices rose together in defiance. "No!" Tazuna's eyes hardened. "Then raise your weapons, my friends. The enemy approaches. Even if today is our last, there is no greater honor than dying for our freedom. What say you?" "We fight!" the villagers roared back, their war cry bringing a rare smile to the masked ANBU watching. And then it came. A thunderous war cry in the distance. The ground trembled, branches shuddered, and from the tree line poured Gatou's army, over 300 thugs, armored in black and brandishing crude blades. The ANBU drew their ninjutsu, forming ranks, but before they could engage, the villagers charged with fearless shouts. For a brief moment, the ANBU stood stunned, then they too surged forward into the fray. Chaos exploded. Steel met steel, shouts of rage blended with screams of pain. Blood soaked the dirt roads, running red through the village streets. From a rooftop vantage, young Inari steadied his father's crossbow, eyes scanning the battlefield no child should ever see. But the memory of Kaiza, his father, burned in his mind. His hands did not shake. He inhaled deeply, braced the weapon against his shoulder, and aimed at a thug closing in on his mother. One breath, one pull, thunk. The bolt pierced the man's forehead. He collapsed instantly, lifeless. Inari quickly reloaded, eyes narrowing. His second shot sliced through one thug's jugular, sending a spray of crimson before continuing into the throat of another behind him. Both fell without a sound. On the ground, Tazuna had already lost his first weapon. With grim determination, he ripped a katana from a fallen enemy's hands. "Never thought I'd be using one of these," he muttered, gripping it tight. Naruto made it look simple, swing and survive, right? A thug's blade came at him fast, too fast. He ducked once, but the next strike came down from above. Closing his eyes, he braced for death. Clang. When he dared to look, an ANBU had intercepted the blow, locking blades with the attacker. "You seem to be struggling, Tazuna-san," the ANBU said evenly. But before the masked ninja could strike, Tazuna roared and thrust his katana deep into the thug's gut, ripping downward with brutal precision. Entrails spilled to the ground as the man fell, lifeless. The ANBU blinked in surprise at the ruthless kill, but Tazuna only smirked, covered in blood. "Do you see a problem here, ANBU-san? Because I don't." "All I see is freedom, for wave," he shouted, charging ahead with his people rallying behind him. The ANBU shook his head with a chuckle. "Remind me never to underestimate my elders." The battle raged on, but slowly the tide shifted. The villagers and shinobi together began driving back Gatou's men. Inside Gatou's mansion, Team 7 meanwhile, Kakashi led his team through Gatou's mansion, room by room. They cut down anyone they found, awake or asleep. For Kakashi, this was routine. For Sasuke, it was exhilarating. For Sai, it was familiar thanks to Root. But Sakura, she struggled. Her first kill came after agonizing hesitation, and the weight of it nearly broke her. Sai offered quiet words of comfort, easing her trembling, but the shadows in her eyes remained. They pressed on, clearing floor after floor. Finally, only one room remained, a set of heavy double doors. A faint humming leaked from inside. Gatou, the team prepared to breach, until sudden screams erupted inside, then silence. Footsteps. The handle turned. The door creaked open. Naruto stepped out, casually waving with a smile. "Yo, sorry about that." "Decided to take the quiet approach," Kakashi sighed. "That melding trick of yours still unsettles me," Naruto grinned. "Come on in, Gatou's already tied up nice and neat." Oh, and he was generous enough to hand over his account numbers and the safe code. Inside, Gatou sat bound tightly to his chair, tree roots wrapping him like shackles. He writhed and spat curses. "When I get free, I'll kill you all." "You hear me? Why not kill him now?" Sasuke asked coldly. "He's worthless." Naruto shook his head. "Not our place. This is for Wave to decide. For now, let's gather the spoils. We'll split them between Wave, Konoha, and Uzu." "War has its rewards," Kakashi nodded. "You heard him, empty the safe." "Hey, that's my money, you thieves," Gatou shrieked. Naruto kicked the chair, toppling him onto his back. The man howled in frustration. "Grahh, insolent brats. CHA." Shut up already, Sakura snapped, smashing her fist into his face and knocking him out cold. She muttered, was I really that loud once upon a time? Sai chuckled. Yes. Yes, you were. He immediately regretted it when Sakura's knuckles cracked ominously. Oh, Sai, she said sweetly. Care to repeat that? Nope, didn't say a word, Sai blurted, backing away. The team laughed as the safe clicked open, spilling riches that would soon be divided. Back in Wave Country, the battlefield had grown eerily quiet. Survivors stood among the carnage, realizing what they had done. Bodies littered the ground, Gatou's men, and some villagers too. The ANBU, surveying the shaken expressions, knew many here would need healing of more than just wounds. Nearby, Zabuza and Haku rested under a tree, bloodied but smiling. Haven't had fun like that since I left the academy, Zabuza cackled. Haku rolled his eyes. That reputation of yours really does go to your head. Missing Nin or not, it's what we do, Zabuza shrugged. The two watched as ANBU began cleaning up the streets, the scent of blood heavy in the air. Then, laughter erupted when they spotted Naruto approaching, Gatou slung over his shoulder, unconscious and bound. Team 7 followed close behind. Looks like you had quite the party, Naruto remarked, wrinkling his nose. Reminds me of the old days. At least the villagers will be glad to deal with him themselves, Haku replied. Naruto nodded as Kakashi directed Team 7. We'll head back to Tazuna's home, get cleaned up, and prepare a meal. Hi, Sensei, they chimed, departing. Naruto gestured for Zabuza and Haku to follow as he stepped into the center of town. Villagers, faces shifted from grim sorrow to bright relief when they saw Gatou's limp form. Naruto dropped him to the dirt with a heavy thud. The man groaned awake, blinking blearily at the nightmare around him. My men, my army, all gone. The villagers closed in, cracking knuckles, eyes burning with vengeance. The ANBU stepped back. They knew this was personal. You destroyed my family, one woman cried. You stole my husband and son, another shouted. The air grew heavy with rage as Gatou realized his fate. With Jiraiya, after leaving the Hokage's office, root base, slipping into the underground base wasn't difficult. Jiraiya quickly discovered that Sai had permanently disabled both the Henge and Genjutsu detection seals, and no one, not even Danzo, had realized it. Keeping to the shadows, the Toad Sage silently moved deeper, hoping to uncover something that could further tarnish Danzo's reputation. Studying a hand-drawn map, Jiraiya noticed that heading right would lead him to a laboratory. If there were any sensitive files or experiments, that's where they'd be. He carefully avoided patrols, knocking a few unconscious when necessary and dragging their bodies into hidden corners. To cover his tracks, he applied memory suppression seals so they wouldn't recall an intruder being present. Eventually, he reached the lab and quickly began sealing away anything of value. Stacks of papers detailed toxin formulas, notes on unnatural body modifications, and rows of strange samples. On a lone shelf, a document caught his attention. Jiraiya secured it immediately and prepared to leave. But on the way out, a wrong turn led him past an office where hushed voices echoed. Instinctively, he activated the camouflage technique, masking himself, and placed a recording seal on the door to capture the conversation. Inside the office, how goes your new project, Danzo? If you mean Sasuke, his progress is satisfactory. With the plan I've set in motion, he'll awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan soon. Once that happens, I'll push him harder, break him down, and mold him into the next Madara under my control. Foo, excellent. And the Chunin exam plans? All set. By then, Sasuke will be mine completely. Sarutobi won't see it coming. Such a naive old fool. Naruto Senju may grow troublesome, but I'll handle him personally. Orachimaru, that's no concern of yours. Coo, always 2 steps ahead, aren't you? Jiraiya silently removed the seal, satisfied with the incriminating evidence. As he navigated out again, he leaned against a wall to check the map, only to stumble backward through a hidden door. The stench hit first, rot, filth, and death. His eyes widened at the sight of 8 frail, shackled children, no older than 12, their bodies skeletal from starvation. His heart clenched. They wouldn't survive long like this. Without hesitation, he cut his hand, conjuring 8 blood clones to take their place in the shackles. Kneeling, he began unfastening the restraints. When he reached the last child, a raspy voice whispered, Thank you, bad man, so hungry." Tears welled in Jirya's eyes. He gently laid the boy down on the cold floor and clenched his fists. "Damn you, Danzo. I don't even want to imagine what you think when you do this. Your end is coming." Once the clones were secured in the shackles, he summoned 7 shadow clones, each carrying a child. With a poof of smoke, he risked a mass shunshin to get them to safety. Hospital waiting area, the sudden arrival of 8 Jiryas carrying limp children drew gasps from the bystanders. Horror and sorrow painted their faces. "Medic," all 8 cried. Tsunade rushed in, eyes widening at the pitiful sight. "Oh no," she whispered, then barked at her staff. 8 intensive care units now. These kids are hanging by a thread. Move." Doctors and nurses scrambled as Jirya's clones gently laid the children on beds. IVs, nutrient drips, and diagnostic scans were rushed into place, but the prognosis was grim. Jirya, releasing his clones, sank to the ground outside one of the rooms. He covered his face with his hands, sobbing quietly, banging his head against the wall in frustration. Tsunade emerged from one of the IC rooms and rushed to his side. "Jirya, who could do this? Are you going to be all right?" "All right," he snapped through his tears. "Those kids were so starved I couldn't even tell if they were boys or girls. Danzo did this. Why, Tsunade, why?" She clenched her fists, rage boiling inside. She was about to storm off when Jirya clutched her leg. "Don't. Acting now will ruin Sensei's plan. Please just stay with me, I feel so powerless." She knelt, wrapping her arms around him as he cried harder. Tears welled in her own eyes. "Danzo, you'll pay. Sensei will stand with you. And if Naruto rises to become Hokage, I'll give him my full support, just as Konoha will." Next day, Daimo's palace, the fire daimyo sat in his study, working through a mountain of paperwork when his secretary entered with a sealed letter. A message from the Sandame, Daimyo-sama. "Thank you, Keiko, you may go." He opened the letter, unsealed the attached documents, and read. His expression darkened until his face burned red with fury. "Keiko," he roared. The woman rushed back in, startled. "Why yes, Daimyo-sama. Prepare my guards, I ride for Konoha immediately. Sarutobi needs my help dealing with a certain pest." "As you command," she replied, scurrying off. The daimyo muttered, "Thank you for exposing this, Sarutobi. I understand why you hesitated before, but now this has gone far enough. Let's see what Jirya uncovered, time will tell." Minutes later, Keiko returned. "Your carriage and guard are ready." He stood, brushing off his robes. "Good, and Keiko, take the rest of the day off. Apologies for shouting earlier." She smiled faintly. "I'm used to it, Daimyo-sama." He chuckled, ruffled her hair, and left the office. Today, he intended to confront a certain schemer directly. Konoha, the following day, Hokage's office. The daimyo's confirmation had arrived the night before. Today, Danzo would finally face judgment. Sarutobi, Jirya, and Tsunade had gathered all evidence, and the council awaited the daimyo's arrival. A knock sounded. "Enter," Sarutobi called. The door creaked open, and the uneven tapping of a cane announced Danzo's arrival. His one visible eye scanned the room. Sarutobi at his desk, Tsunade to the left, Jirya to the right. Suspicion flickered in his gaze. "My old friend," Sarutobi greeted calmly. "Please take a seat. We have much to discuss." Danzo hesitated, then approached. But before he could react further, Jirya wove hand seals, erecting a barrier around the room. Tsunade lunged forward, tackling him to the floor. ANBU operatives dropped from the ceiling, clamping chakra-suppressing cuffs and sealing tags on him, locking away his strength, his stolen eyes, even his ability to move. Danzo roared, "What is the meaning of this?" Sarutobi rose from his chair, nodding to Jirya to drop the barrier. A knock came, and the fire daimyo entered, his presence draining the color from Danzo's face. "So you've already captured the rat, Sarutobi dono," the daimyo said with a sneer. "Shall we proceed with the trial? Though honestly, I doubt we need one." "Let me go, done nothing wrong," Danzo spat. Sarutobi leaned in close, voice low and sharp. "You called me weak-minded, but look at you now, helpless, powerless, every scheme crumbling. Who's the fool now, old friend?" Wood release. Binding roots technique, thick wooden tendrils burst from the ground, wrapping around Sasuke and forcing his jutsu to a halt. Both Sarutobi and Kakashi exhaled in relief as Naruto withdrew his wooden hand back to normal. Everyone in the room watched as Sasuke thrashed violently against the restraints. "When I break free, every last one of you is dead. Do you hear me? I'll kill you all." A calm voice echoed from the doorway, laced with dry humor. "Well, someone's throwing quite the tantrum. Hokage-sama, what do you need of me?" Sarutobi, Naruto, and Kakashi all chuckled softly. "Inoichi, I want you to enter Sasuke's mind, wipe away his memories, and afterward I'll suppress his bloodline. We'll re-educate him and steer him down a proper path. Don't you dare touch me, wretched FOOLS." Sasuke's protest ended with a swift chop to the neck from Inoichi, who dropped him unconscious with practiced ease. Everyone smirked at the sight. Naruto's eyes lit up as a thought struck him. "Wait, there might be a better way. We can't deny Sasuke's strength, even if it came under Danzo's hand. If we erase everything, including his potential, it proves Konoha fears power rather than guiding it. My idea: erase his memories, yes, but leave his bloodline and skill intact. Then, when he wakes, we tell him the truth about the Uchiha massacre and move forward from there." Sarutobi rubbed his goatee, considering. "That does make sense, but with all that strength intact, there's a risk he'll fall right back into hatred." Naruto straightened, his voice carrying a weight that reminded Sarutobi of Minato. "He won't. I'll take personal responsibility to train him, with support from people I choose. Even though I'm a clone, the original has enough chakra to sustain me and guide Sasuke." Sarutobi's eyes widened. "You're sure you want to shoulder that?" Naruto nodded firmly. "Yes, and do you still have the scrolls from Danzo's hideout regarding Sasuke's training?" Kakashi cut in sharply. "Hold on, you're not saying what I think you are you? That you'll continue Danzo's methods?" "That's exactly what I intend." "What?" The outcry came from every corner of the office: Sarutobi, Kakashi, Inoichi, and the ANBU present. Naruto met their shock with unwavering resolve. "Think about it. We have the chance to shape another shinobi as powerful as the Madara my father once fought. The difference is, we'll raise him to protect Konoha, not to hate it. That's why I want to train him." Inoichi chuckled, shaking his head. "Never thought I'd say this, but another Uchiha molded like Madara, yet loyal to us. That's not just possible, it's terrifying in the best way. Imagine Naruto and Sasuke together, sweeping enemies aside." Kakashi's visible eye curved in a smile. "I'll admit, I see the potential. As long as we tell him the truth afterward, it could work." Sarutobi groaned, massaging his temples. "Fine, Naruto, you make a strong case. We confiscated Danzo's records before destroying his base. I assume you also want Madara-like gear and weaponry for him?" Naruto shook his head. "Not yet. He'll earn the right to wield such things. But if he ever strays back into hatred, and I can't pull him back, Inoichi has permission to erase him completely." Everyone exchanged silent agreement. Sarutobi gestured to Inoichi. "Begin when ready." The Yamanaka nodded and started weaving hand seals. Moments later, he slumped, exhausted, but Naruto caught him with a wooden tendril and set him gently on the floor. Sasuke's fate was being rewritten, and Naruto silently vowed to see it through. 5 minutes later, Inoichi stirred, holding his head with a groan. What a nightmare of a mind. Between Itachi's genjutsu and Danzo's manipulations, it was twisted beyond belief. "I stripped everything except the massacre and his abilities. Kept the names of key people, too. You'll need to come up with a cover story for him." Sarutobi nodded in gratitude. "Thank you, Inoichi. Rest now, one of my ANBU will escort you to the hospital." Smiling weakly, Inoichi accepted, vanishing with an ANBU moments later. A groan escaped Sasuke's lips as he began to stir. Naruto dismissed the wooden bindings, and Sasuke slowly opened his eyes, confusion written on his face. What happened? I remember my clan being slaughtered, some training, but the rest is foggy." Sarutobi glanced at Naruto and Kakashi, desperate for a plausible explanation. Naruto stepped forward, taking charge. "Sasuke, do you remember me?" Sasuke squinted at him. "Naruto Senju." Naruto nodded. "Correct, and do you recognize anyone else in this room?" Sasuke scanned the faces. "That's the third Hokage and Kakashi-sensei. Wait, I'm seeing flashes of a team and missions, but it's so unclear." Naruto sighed and put on a solemn expression. "In our last battle, you were thrown through a window. You hit the ground hard, causing a severe concussion. The injury left you with memory loss. I'm sorry, Sasuke. Sasuke pushed himself upright, staggering to a chair. His hands trembled as he took a long breath. Why did Itachi do it? Why I feel nothing but rage toward him. All I want is to kill him. Sarutobi cleared his throat. Sasuke, would you like to know the truth about that night? Sasuke's head snapped toward him. What truth? He slaughtered my clan and told me hatred was my path to power. Tell me why I shouldn't follow his words. In silence, Sarutobi handed him a folder, records taken from Danzo's stash. Sasuke seized it, eyes scanning page after page. These are documents your brother never wanted you to see. Danzo twisted everything, used Itachi, fabricated a rebellion, and pinned the blame on your clan. All of it a lie. The room stayed silent as Sasuke read for 10 long minutes. Then with a broken cry, he hurled the papers away, collapsing into sobs. I want Itachi back, I want Kasan, Tusan. Naruto knelt beside him, hand steady on his shoulder. We'll make this right, Sasuke. I promise. Sasuke's tears burned into anger. Where is Danzo? I'll kill that bastard. Sarutobi answered gravely. Danzo was exposed, put on trial, and executed for his crimes. Sasuke, listen, if Naruto and others were to train you, to help you grow strong for Konoha's sake, would you accept? Sniffling, Sasuke wiped his face. He looked to Naruto, who gave him an encouraging smile. I don't know. Right now, all I want is my brother back. Kakashi interjected. Then let me ask, do you hate Konoha for what happened? Sarutobi and Naruto shot him worried looks, but Inouchi's precision work held firm. Sasuke thought deeply, then shook his head. Danzo wasn't Konoha, he was a selfish old fool, he deserved what he got. Naruto leaned closer. Then, will you protect Konoha, rebuild your clan someday? Sasuke stood, eyes burning with new resolve. Yes, if Itachi returns, I'll fight beside him to protect this village. Sarutobi and Naruto both smiled at the sight of the will of fire flickering to life in Sasuke's gaze. Kakashi nodded. Then let's take you home. But Sasuke shook his head. No, I won't live in that compound again, too many ghosts. Naruto-sensei, may I stay with you until my brother returns? Naruto smiled warmly. Of course. Tsunade and I will welcome you. Sasuke bowed his head. Thank you, I'll follow your training without question. Water Country outer island near Kirigakure. Naruto tightened the last piece of armor, securing his black-bladed katana, raging whirlpool across his back. Adjusting his headband so it parted his dark bangs, he exhaled. Today begins Yagura's downfall, Kurama. Think that seal I crafted in limbo will actually work. The fox's amused voice rumbled in his mind. You tested it on yourself once. Remind me, how'd that turn out again? Naruto groaned. Don't remind me. I've perfected it now, but whether it works or not, who knows? Kurama yawned. We'll see soon enough. Now quiet, I'm going back to sleep. Naruto's sweat dropped. How can a creature with endless chakra nap this much? I heard that, brat, and don't you dare call me a plush toy again, or I'll eat you when we test that seal. Naruto chuckled, tuning out the fox's grumbling. His focus shifted to the mission ahead, leading the strike against one of Yagura's strongholds guarding Kiri's main entrance. Flashback 2 days earlier, May led Naruto through the rebel camp. White tents stretched in orderly rows, filled with weary fighters. Outside, men and women sharpened kunai and polished blades, pausing to stare at Naruto. His armored form evoked legends from another era, the Senju crest gleaming on his collar. Whispers spread quickly, hope stirring in their eyes. May, Naruto asked, how large is your force? She sighed. We started with more than 3,000. A year of fighting cut us to nearly half. Morale is fragile, too many have buried friends and family. But with you here, I can feel their hope reigniting. You radiate something steady, something they need. Danzo's eyes narrowed in disbelief before he let out a furious growl. Sigh. When I get my hands on you, Grahh. ANBU, restrain this traitor. We'll bring him before the council with the evidence. It shouldn't take long, Hiruzen ordered, then turned to the fire daimyo with a calm but firm nod. Shall we, daimyo dono? The daimyo gave a quiet nod of approval. 2 ANBU hauled Danzo up and followed behind as the Hokage and daimyo led the way. Back in the Hokage's office, Tsunade and Jiraiya stood guard, their presence a reminder of how serious things had become. Around the village, shinobi, both ANBU and off-duty, remained on high alert, prepared for anything. Council chambers, the council room doors creaked open, and all eyes turned to see the Sandaime walking alongside the fire daimyo. Behind them, two ANBU dragged an incapacitated Danzo. Smirks spread across the faces of clan heads and elders alike. Finally, the shadowy schemer was caught. Hiruzen sat between his advisors while the daimyo positioned himself across the table, signaling that the trial was about to begin. By order of the Hokage and myself, the fire daimyo declared in a clear, commanding tone, Danzo Shimura, you stand accused of conspiring with enemies, abusing children, undermining the Hokage's authority, orchestrating genocide, and countless other crimes. How do you plead? Danzo spat venomously. To hell with you. I'll take that as a not guilty, the daimyo said dryly before nodding toward Hiruzen. Sandaime Dono. Hiruzen sighed, reached into his robes and produced a scroll. He unsealed it, revealing a heavy folder filled with damning documents, enough for every clan head, each advisor, and the daimyo himself. He gestured to the ANBU, who quickly began distributing them. Contained within these files, Hiruzen explained, is evidence collected by both myself and my agents over months of investigation. I hesitated to act sooner, but Juria's findings these past 3 days confirmed everything beyond doubt. Read at your own pace. For half an hour, silence reigned. Pages turned, expressions hardened, and the air grew thick with tension. By the end, every gaze locked onto Danzo, burning with fury and the desire for retribution. Hayashi rose first, his voice cold. You abducted members of my clan and forced them into your root program. Attempting to steal a bloodline is punishable by death. I demand execution publicly. Tsume followed with a scowl. None of mine were taken, but what I've just read is beyond forgiveness. I hope you rot in hell. Execution. Shibai, normally calm and collected, stood next. His hive stirred violently, buzzing loud enough to make even the daimyo uneasy. His voice was dark, almost inhuman. Danzo, I pride myself on restraint, but you've pushed me further than anyone ever has. Do you know why a Burame are calm? Because our hives mirror our emotions. And right now, they're screaming to tear you apart piece by piece. Burn in hell, Danzo. With a deep breath, Shibai calmed himself and his insects retreated, though the room exhaled in collective relief. Inoichi glared. If I had the chance, I'd shatter your mind so badly you'd live in madness until you died. Execution, nothing less. Shikaku gave his usual tired sigh. You've caused enough trouble already. Execute him and let me get back to sleep. Chose's fury boiled over, his words short and sharp. Execution, now. As head of the Sarutobi clan, I too vote for execution, Hiruzen declared. The advisors echoed in unison. Execution. The fire daimyo gave his final judgment. Danzo Shimura, by unanimous vote and my authority, you are sentenced to public execution within the hour. This trial is concluded. Danzo snarled as ANBU dragged him out, but his fate was sealed. Hiruzen addressed the room with a faint smile. Before we destroy his base, I want you all to know we've already secured every operative under his command. They'll undergo rehabilitation and in time may rejoin society. And right on cue. The ground trembled faintly beneath their feet. That would be the demolition. Once the process is finished, I'll personally reunite you with lost family members. 1 hour later, town center Danzo was bound tightly to a post, chakra suppression cuffs and sealing tags locking him down. The village had gathered, murmuring. Many had long heard whispers of Danzo's cruelty, but never believed it until now. Hiruzen stepped forward, voice steady. People of Konoha, you now see before you a man who betrayed everything we stand for. Danzo Shimura will be executed for his crimes. Do you have any last words, Danzo? Danzo's laughter rang out, harsh and bitter. You fools think this is the end. I've always been ahead of you, Sarutobi. I'll return one way or another. Hiruzen gave a solemn nod. At his signal, an ANBU swiftly swung his blade. Danzo's laughter ended in silence as his head fell, his face frozen in a grotesque grin. His remains were reduced to ash with a burst of fire jutsu, and the crowd erupted into cheers. Hiruzen allowed himself a weary sigh. At last, one obstacle gone. Now the village can take its first steps toward the future Naruto envisioned. 1 week later, a small island, water country Naruto stood on a rocky shore, gazing toward the mists surrounding Kirigakure. Kushina had told him Mei was somewhere among these islands, but there were countless possibilities. His thoughts drifted briefly to Kushina herself. After their date, she had confessed she wasn't ready to move forward, still clinging to her memories of Minato. Naruto respected her honesty. He believed in time she'd find her way back, if fate allowed. A shout interrupted his thoughts. He turned to see a striking woman with long auburn hair tied in a herringbone braid, green eyes sharp and calculating. She carried herself with elegance but radiated strength. Naruto smiled and approached. "You must be Mei. Kushina mentioned you. I'm Naruto Senju." Mei blinked, confusion flashing across her face before realization struck. "Naruto Senju, but you should be nearly 70 years old," Naruto chuckled. "Let's just say age isn't what it seems. Could you take me to your camp? We can discuss strategy there." Mei smirked, nodding. "With you on our side, Senju-sama, the rebellion just gained its greatest advantage. Welcome." Elsewhere, returned to Konoha 2 days later, Team 7 and Kakashi returned from Wave, the newly christened Bridge of Freedom standing tall behind them. Zabuza and Haku had decided to seek out the real Naruto, eager to aid the rebellion in Kiri. Meanwhile, Kakashi handed over mission papers at Konoha's gates before an ANBU appeared. "Kakashi Hadake. Hokage-sama requests your immediate presence, along with Naruto and Sasuke. The others may rest." "Hi," Kakashi replied. Naruto gave Sakura and Sai a quick nod. "Use this time to train. Keep up with my regimen and study new jutsu." Both responded respectfully. "Hi, Naruto-sensei." With that, Kakashi, Sasuke, and Naruto headed toward the Hokage's office. Hokage's office the three entered at Hiruzen's command. The old man's gaze lingered knowingly on Naruto. It was only a clone, since the real one was elsewhere. Still, his expression softened briefly before turning serious. "Welcome back. Kakashi, you can submit your mission reports later. For now, more urgent matters await." He glanced at Sasuke, then continued. "Danzo Shimura has been dealt with, permanently." Naruto and Kakashi exchanged relieved smiles. Sasuke, however, froze, his eyes widening with disbelief before hardening into fury. "You lie, my master will return. I will carry his will. I will surpass Madara himself, and none of you can stop me." Hands flashed through seals. Naruto recognized the beginnings of a powerful fire technique. Without hesitation, his left arm shifted into wood, snapping up to intercept. The tension in the room spiked. Sasuke's path had just taken a dangerous turn. Wood release. Binding roots technique, thick wooden tendrils burst from the ground, wrapping around Sasuke and forcing his jutsu to a halt. Both Sarutobi and Kakashi exhaled in relief as Naruto withdrew his wooden hand back to normal. Everyone in the room watched as Sasuke thrashed violently against the restraints. "When I break free, every last one of you is dead. Do you hear me? I'll kill you all." A calm voice echoed from the doorway, laced with dry humor. "Well, someone's throwing quite the tantrum. Hokage-sama, what do you need of me?" Sarutobi, Naruto, and Kakashi all chuckled softly. "Inoichi, I want you to enter Sasuke's mind, wipe away his memories, and afterward I'll suppress his bloodline. We'll re-educate him and steer him down a proper path. Don't you dare touch me, wretched FOOLS." Sasuke's protest ended with a swift chop to the neck from Inoichi, who dropped him unconscious with practiced ease. Everyone smirked at the sight. Naruto's eyes lit up as a thought struck him. "Wait, there might be a better way. We can't deny Sasuke's strength, even if it came under Danzo's hand. If we erase everything, including his potential, it proves Konoha fears power rather than guiding it. My idea, erase his memories, yes, but leave his bloodline and skill intact. Then, when he wakes, we tell him the truth about the Uchiha massacre and move forward from there." Sarutobi rubbed his goatee, considering. "That does make sense, but with all that strength intact, there's a risk he'll fall right back into hatred." Naruto straightened, his voice carrying a weight that reminded Sarutobi of Minato. "He won't. I'll take personal responsibility to train him, with support from people I choose. Even though I'm a clone, the original has enough chakra to sustain me and guide Sasuke." Sarutobi's eyes widened. "You're sure you want to shoulder that?" Naruto nodded firmly. "Yes, and do you still have the scrolls from Danzo's hideout regarding Sasuke's training?" Kakashi cut in sharply. "Hold on, you're not saying what I think you are you? That you'll continue Danzo's methods?" "That's exactly what I intend." "What?" The outcry came from every corner of the office: Sarutobi, Kakashi, Inoichi, and the ANBU present. Naruto met their shock with unwavering resolve. Think about it. We have the chance to shape another shinobi as powerful as the Madara my father once fought. The difference is, we'll raise him to protect Konoha, not to hate it. That's why I want to train him. Inoichi chuckled, shaking his head. Never thought I'd say this, but another Uchiha molded like Madara, yet loyal to us. That's not just possible, it's terrifying in the best way. Imagine Naruto and Sasuke together, sweeping enemies aside. Kakashi's visible eye curved in a smile. I'll admit, I see the potential. As long as we tell him the truth afterward, it could work. Sarutobi groaned, massaging his temples. Fine, Naruto, you make a strong case. We confiscated Danzo's records before destroying his base. I assume you also want Madara-like gear and weaponry for him? Naruto shook his head. Not yet. He'll earn the right to wield such things. But if he ever strays back into hatred, and I can't pull him back, Inoichi has permission to erase him completely. Everyone exchanged silent agreement. Sarutobi gestured to Inoichi. Begin when ready. The Yamanaka nodded and started weaving hand seals. Moments later, he slumped, exhausted, but Naruto caught him with a wooden tendril and set him gently on the floor. Sasuke's fate was being rewritten, and Naruto silently vowed to see it through. 5 minutes later, Inoichi stirred, holding his head with a groan. What a nightmare of a mind. Between Itachi's genjutsu and Danzo's manipulations, it was twisted beyond belief. I stripped everything except the massacre and his abilities. Kept the names of key people, too. You'll need to come up with a cover story for him. Sarutobi nodded in gratitude. Thank you, Inoichi. Rest now, one of my ANBU will escort you to the hospital. Smiling weakly, Inoichi accepted, vanishing with an ANBU moments later. A groan escaped Sasuke's lips as he began to stir. Naruto dismissed the wooden bindings, and Sasuke slowly opened his eyes, confusion written on his face. What happened? I remember my clan being slaughtered, some training, but the rest is foggy. Sarutobi glanced at Naruto and Kakashi, desperate for a plausible explanation. Naruto stepped forward, taking charge. Sasuke, do you remember me? Sasuke squinted at him. Naruto Senju, Naruto nodded. Correct, and do you recognize anyone else in this room? Sasuke scanned the faces. That's the third Hokage and Kakashi-sensei. Wait, I'm seeing flashes of a team and missions, but it's so unclear. Naruto sighed and put on a solemn expression. In our last battle, you were thrown through a window. You hit the ground hard, causing a severe concussion. The injury left you with memory loss. I'm sorry, Sasuke. Sasuke pushed himself upright, staggering to a chair. His hands trembled as he took a long breath. Why did Itachi do it? Why I feel nothing but rage toward him. All I want is to kill him. Sarutobi cleared his throat. Sasuke, would you like to know the truth about that night? Sasuke's head snapped toward him. What truth? He slaughtered my clan and told me hatred was my path to power. Tell me why I shouldn't follow his words. In silence, Sarutobi handed him a folder, records taken from Danzo's stash. Sasuke seized it, eyes scanning page after page. These are documents your brother never wanted you to see. Danzo twisted everything, used Itachi, fabricated a rebellion, and pinned the blame on your clan. All of it a lie. The room stayed silent as Sasuke read for 10 long minutes. Then with a broken cry, he hurled the papers away, collapsing into sobs. I want Itachi back, I want Kasan, Tusan. Naruto knelt beside him, hand steady on his shoulder. We'll make this right, Sasuke. I promise. Sasuke's tears burned into anger. Where is Danzo? I'll kill that bastard. Sarutobi answered gravely. Danzo was exposed, put on trial, and executed for his crimes. Sasuke, listen, if Naruto and others were to train you, to help you grow strong for Konoha's sake, would you accept? Sniffling, Sasuke wiped his face. He looked to Naruto, who gave him an encouraging smile. I don't know. Right now, all I want is my brother back. Kakashi interjected. Then let me ask, do you hate Konoha for what happened? Sarutobi and Naruto shot him worried looks, but Inoichi's precision work held firm. Sasuke thought deeply, then shook his head. Danzo wasn't Konoha, he was a selfish old fool, he deserved what he got. Naruto leaned closer. Then, will you protect Konoha, rebuild your clan someday? Sasuke stood, eyes burning with new resolve. Yes, If Itachi returns, I'll fight beside him to protect this village." Sarutobi and Naruto both smiled at the sight of the will of fire flickering to life in Sasuke's gaze. Kakashi nodded. "Then let's take you home." But Sasuke shook his head. "No, I won't live in that compound again, too many ghosts." "Naruto-sensei, may I stay with you until my brother returns?" Naruto smiled warmly. "Of course, Tsunade and I will welcome you." Sasuke bowed his head. "Thank you. I'll follow your training without question." Water Country, outer island near Kirigakure. Naruto tightened the last piece of armor, securing his black-bladed katana, raging whirlpool, across his back. Adjusting his headband so it parted his dark bangs, he exhaled. "Today begins Yagura's downfall, Kurama. Think that seal I crafted in limbo will actually work?" The fox's amused voice rumbled in his mind. "You tested it on yourself once. Remind me, how'd that turn out again?" Naruto groaned. "Don't remind me. I've perfected it now, but whether it works or not, who knows?" Kurama yawned. "We'll see soon enough. Now quiet, I'm going back to sleep." Naruto's sweat dropped. How can a creature with endless chakra nap this much? "I heard that, brat, and don't you dare call me a plush toy again, or I'll eat you when we test that seal." Naruto chuckled, tuning out the fox's grumbling. His focus shifted to the mission ahead, leading the strike against one of Yagura's strongholds guarding Kiri's main entrance. Flashback 2 days earlier, May led Naruto through the rebel camp. White tents stretched in orderly rows, filled with weary fighters. Outside, men and women sharpened kunai and polished blades, pausing to stare at Naruto. His armored form evoked legends from another era, the Senju crest gleaming on his collar. Whispers spread quickly, hope stirring in their eyes. "May," Naruto asked, "how large is your force?" She sighed. "We started with more than 3,000. A year of fighting cut us to nearly half. Morale is fragile, too many have buried friends and family. But with you here, I can feel their hope reigniting. You radiate something steady, something they need." Naruto chuckled softly. "That's my father's chakra running through me. It's nature-based energy, he used to call it sage chakra. Combined with this necklace I'm wearing, it's the reason why my wood release is so powerful." May tilted her head, giving him a questioning look. "That sounds like something you shouldn't be sharing so casually. Why tell me something that important?" Naruto smirked. "Because I'm confident no one would survive long enough to spread it. Be glad I'm your ally, May. I carry a single technique that could erase this entire rebellion in one strike." May's expression drained of color. She opened her mouth to respond, but before she could, one of the rebels approached. The newcomer was a young woman, around 5.5 feet tall, long brown hair tied back, rough leather armor strapped over plain clothes, and a tanto resting against her back. "Senju-sama, everyone's been talking about you since word spread. We're all curious, would you tell us your name?" Naruto smiled warmly. "Once I finish with May, I'll find you again. Your chakra signature is easy to track. Gather everyone together then, and I'll introduce myself properly." The woman bowed. "Thank you, Senju-sama." May chuckled as the girl dashed off to spread the news. "Seems you've already won them over. You'll be more useful than I expected. My quarters aren't far from here. We're planning our next move today. Would you like to sit in?" Naruto nodded. "Of course. My father drilled tactics and strategy into me before he passed. I'll observe while you and the others decide, and I'll step in if I see a flaw or a better plan." They soon arrived at May's tent, a massive structure large enough to house at least 300 soldiers. "Here we are," May said. "I'll introduce you to the rest." The next 3 hours were spent buried in discussions, charting possible attack routes. Naruto chimed in when necessary, offering insights that turned out to be invaluable. Alongside May, 2 others played prominent roles. Ao, a sharp man with blue hair and a covered right eye, and Isamu, an older shinobi with spiky brown hair, piercing blue eyes, and a ninjata slung across his back. Ao had been cautious at first. His hidden Byakugan let him glimpse Naruto's immense chakra reserves, and suspicion clouded his judgment. May reassured him by revealing Naruto's lineage, Hashirama's son. The revelation shifted Ao's demeanor immediately, and both he and Isamu welcomed Naruto's support with gratitude. After the meeting, Naruto sought out the brunette woman from earlier. He located her chakra easily and found her seated outside her tent, sharpening her tanto. "Hello again," he greeted. She looked up, then smiled. "Ah, Senju-sama, I forgot to introduce myself before. My name's Kasumi. Naruto extended his hand. And I'm Naruto Senju. A pleasure to finally meet properly. Kasumi sheathed her blade before shaking his hand, then stretched. Well, didn't you promise to address everyone? I'll gather the crowd. Without hesitation, she infused chakra into her throat and bellowed, SENJUSMAWSHES to speak. Move it! Naruto laughed at her bluntness as the thunder of footsteps followed. Soon, nearly 1,500 rebels stood assembled. Naruto cleared his throat, and silence fell. Comrades, he began, I've chosen to stand with you in reclaiming what is yours, your village, your home, Kirigakure. My name is Naruto Senju, son of Hashirama Senju and Mito Uzumaki. Though I may appear young, I carry wisdom far beyond my years. I will fight beside you or, if needed, lead you into battle. Let my presence raise your morale, let it sharpen our resolve. Will we allow Yagura to keep your home and destroy all you love? No, the crowd roared in unison. Naruto unsheathed his katana and thrust it toward the sky. Then raise your weapons and declare it to the heavens. Together we will claim victory. Steel rasped against sheaths as blades lifted into the air. With a unified cry, the rebels shouted, "For Kiri!" Naruto smiled, sliding his weapon back into its scabbard. 2 days from now, we'll strike. I'll lead a group to seize the island guarding Kiri's gates. Once its defenses fall, Kiri itself will be within reach. Cheers erupted again as Naruto disappeared in a blur of wood release movement, leaving the camp buzzing with hope. Flashback ends. Naruto stepped out of his tent and spotted 2 familiar figures approaching. Jogging over, he greeted them with a grin. Zabuza, Haku, my clone explained things to you. Both nodded, though Zabuza scowled. Yeah. About damn time, Yagura got what's coming. May also told me they'll clear my missing nin's status once this war ends. Naruto shook his head. Yagura won't be killed. He's not himself, something or someone's controlling him. Zabuza growled. What do you mean not killed? And wait, you said you were like, oh hell, that fox you mentioned. He facepalmed. Naruto laughed and raised 9 fingers. Haku's eyes widened instantly. Keep that quiet. The truth will come out when I put my plan into motion. For now, I'll escort you to Mei's quarters if you'd like. Haku shook his head. We've been ordered to stay back on guard duty. Thank you, Naruto-sama. Very well, Naruto said with a smile. We'll meet on the battlefield. Until then, Yani. At Mei's quarters, Naruto arrived 5 minutes later, finding Mei and Ao mid-conversation outside the tent. They stopped and bowed when they noticed him. Greetings, Senju-sama, they said together. Naruto waved dismissively. Just Naruto, the titles are getting old. Mei smirked. So, you're still set on using that technique you mentioned before the assault? Ao folded his arms. Are you sure it'll be visible from here? Naruto raised a brow. Do you doubt the son of Hashirama, Ao? Ao quickly shook his head. Not doubting, just, history says that technique created the forests surrounding Konoha. I'll believe it when I see it. Naruto chuckled. Wise of you to stop before I turned you into a tree and let Mei finish you off with lava. Mei laughed outright as Ao paled. Then it's as incredible as I thought, she said. I suppose Kiri will soon have a brand new forest. Naruto nodded. Consider it my gift to this rebellion. Now, gather your troops, it's time. The two hurried off while Naruto sped across the water toward the fortified island. Rumors said it held more than 500 troops, equipped with bunkers and fortifications designed to repel invasions. Once he finished his task, 800 rebels would charge in to wipe out the rest. It would be swift and decisive. At the island, Naruto stopped at the edge of the island, closing his eyes to sense the many life signatures spread across it. He exhaled slowly, hardening his resolve. I despise killing, but such is this cursed cycle. May the gods forgive me. Father, this was the final lesson you left me, I'll honor it. They're watching over you, Kit, Kurama's voice rumbled. Mito, your father, everyone. Stand tall and remember his ideals. Naruto touched the necklace briefly, eyes closed. Thank you, Kurama. You always know when to speak. Silver chakra flared from his body, shocking the island's sensors. His eyes shifted, yellow irises, red markings circling down his face, a crimson sigil appearing on his forehead. Determination hardened his expression as he raced through hand seals. Tora, Hitsuji, Hebai would release. Nativity of a world of trees. The earth split and groaned. Saplings burst forth, spreading like wildfire, growing into towering trees that swallowed bunkers, forts, and soldiers alike. Screams rang out, drowned by the roar of an expanding forest. For 4 minutes, Naruto sustained the jutsu, ensuring the island was blanketed in green. Then, he released the technique, exhaling as Sage Mode faded. Despite the chakra drain, he remained composed, barely winded. "Well done, Kit, your father would be proud, and you didn't even break a sweat," Kurama mused. Naruto smiled faintly. "Thanks, partner." Ah, and here comes the rebellion, just in time. On the island before the attack, one of the station's sensors snapped out of meditation, eyes widening at the massive chakra spike. He sprinted to his commander's quarters. Before he arrived, another surge rattled the island. The commander stood, alarm etched across his face. "What kind of monster has that much chakra?" "I don't know, sir, but—" The ground quaked violently. Outside, soldiers shouted in panic as saplings tore through the soil. The commander's eyes flew wide open the moment he recognized the technique from old war records. "Brace yourselves, enemy strike incoming," he barked. "What?" one shinobi gasped, but he never finished. The earth trembled as massive trees tore out from the ground, their branches whipping forward like spears. Some ninja were ensnared midair, while others were pierced outright. The forest spread with frightening speed across the island, forcing everyone to scatter in a desperate attempt to survive. Agonized screams echoed through the chaos, and the commander cursed under his breath. "This can't be," the Chronicles said he perished 50 years ago. Unless, gods no. His gut twisted. If the man he feared truly stood with the rebellion, Yagura's forces wouldn't stand a chance. Rebellion forces, just before the jutsu across the waters, all eyes were fixed on the island. Ao had his Byakugan active, relaying information to the rebels. But the moment Naruto unleashed his chakra, Ao staggered back with a strangled cry, clutching his glowing eye in pain. May rushed to his side. "What's happening?" His chakra, it's unreal," Ao stammered. "Explain, Ao, before I decide to melt you where you stand," May snapped. Forcing a breath, Ao lowered his hand. "I glimpsed his chakra reserves before I had to shut my eye any longer, and it would have burned me blind. Believe me or don't, but Naruto's chakra, it rivals 4, maybe 5 kage combined." Gasps rippled through the gathered soldiers, followed by a collective shout. "What?" May's lips curled into a triumphant grin, and she actually twirled with excitement. "I knew it. Naruto is our savior. It makes sense. He's of Senju and Uzumaki bloodline after all." The ground suddenly quaked, silencing them. Moments later, they all watched in stunned awe as an entire forest surged into existence before their eyes, spreading across the island in minutes. None of them could breathe until Zabuza broke the silence. "Holy shit," Ao whispered hoarsely. "It's true, and he doesn't even look drained." May's expression hardened. "This is our signal. Those assigned to back up Senju-sama move." A thunderous chorus followed. "Hi, May-sama." 800 rebel shinobi surged forward toward the island. Naruto kept his eyes closed, sensing chakra signatures through the sprawling trees. His jutsu was not without openings. Some enemies had slipped free, but it had already decimated most of the force. Out of the original 500 stationed on the island, barely 100 remained, either snared by roots or running in circles like trapped animals. "Orders, Senju-sama?" Kasumi asked. Opening his eyes, Naruto exhaled slowly. "Roughly 100 foes remain. They're either panicking within the forest or bound in my trees. Steady yourselves, this is no time for hesitation. Strike down those who stand in your way. Move from branch to branch if you can, it's far safer than the ground." "Hi, Senju-sama," his troops roared back. With a firm nod, Naruto drew Raging Whirlpool. "I'll lead, but spread out, the island is vast. If you lose your bearings, flare your chakra." His men acknowledged, fanning out as they pushed deeper into the forest. For 3 hours they combed through the terrain, finishing stragglers and securing prisoners. By day's end, outposts were already being set to gather intelligence on Kiri's defenses. Back at the rebel base, May could hardly hide her glee. Their first battle had ended with 0 losses, largely thanks to Naruto's overwhelming power. She was still reveling in the victory when Ao asked her, almost casually, "What name should we give that forest?" May tapped her chin. "Every landmark deserves a title, let's see." Then she snapped her fingers. "We'll call it the Forest of Hope. Because that's what it is. the place where one man planted hope in all our hearts, the hope that Yagura's reign is finally crumbling. Kiri Mizukage Tower, 30 minutes later a knock echoed at Yagura's office door. "Enter," he said. His top scout Suzumu stepped inside, pale and sweating. "Ah, Suzumu," Yagura cooed with a mock-sweet smile. "Please tell me you've brought good news. Otherwise," his grin sharpened, "I'll dispose of you like the filth at the bottom of this tower." Suzumu swallowed hard. "Mizukage-sama, the fortified island, it's gone, transformed into a forest. No survivors remain." Yagura rose from his seat, circling his desk until he stood before the trembling man. Placing a hand on Suzumu's cheek, he chuckled softly. "So, the rebellion has taken one of my strongholds. And they've gained an ally, someone wielding Mokuton, perhaps. How interesting, but they'll never reach me alive." "Mizukage-sama, may I leave now?" Suzumu whispered. "Oh, you'll leave." Yagura laughed darkly as he pushed him forward, coral sprouting across Suzumu's flesh with grotesque cracks. The man screamed as the growth consumed him, spreading down his throat. "You'll leave this life, right here before me." Within minutes, Suzumu was gone, his body hardened into a grotesque coral statue. Yagura lifted the remains, tossed them from the tower, and smirked as the shell shattered into dust far below. "The rebellion wants to rise again. Then I shall prepare a welcome gift. As for this Mokuton wielder," he licked his lips, "he'll learn soon enough that no one defies me. The land of water is mine to rule." 1 week later, Konoha 7 days passed since the rebels' stunning first victory. They used the time to gather intel on Kiri's inner defenses, Yagura's daily movements, and guard shifts. A week was hardly enough for a full invasion plan, so they opted to regroup and train, preparing for the inevitable war to come. Meanwhile in Konoha, much had shifted. Sasuke's memories had been tampered with, Jiraiya had gone off in search of Itachi, and Hiruzen Sarutobi found himself reflecting on his long tenure. Realizing the village needed a successor, he summoned Tsunade and one of Naruto's clones to his office. Flashback, 5 days ago a knock came at the Hokage's door. "Enter." Tsunade and Naruto's clone stepped inside, bowing before taking their seats. Hiruzen puffed on his pipe, his desk for once free of paperwork. "I've been reflecting," the old man began. "I've served long enough. It's time to pass the mantle. I asked Jiraiya before he left, but he refused. That leaves the two of you. I can't yet decide who would carry the title best." The two exchanged glances. They knew the years had caught up to their teacher. Naruto's clone leaned forward. "With respect, boss isn't ready yet. He's fighting a war and just used his father's forbidden jutsu to wipe out a fortress. 500 enemies reduced to 100. His chakra took a hit, but only barely. Our minds are linked, so I know what he knows. He might release me anytime once he invades Kiri." Both Tsunade and Hiruzen gaped. "He used that jutsu," the clone chuckled. "Second time, once in training and now in battle. Remember that forest I grew in the Senju compound's backyard? Mito's garden never recovered." Hiruzen chuckled. "Ah yes, she nearly had your head for that. Uzumaki Fury is no joke." Tsunade smirked. "So that's where the garden went." The clone grew serious. "Point is, he's not ready to be Hokage. And I may look 18, but in truth I'm 68 stuck in limbo, not exactly ideal either." "Tsunade, you've carried the weight of Dan and Nawaki's dreams long enough. Maybe it's time to honor them." She sighed softly. "The past won't bind me forever, the future is brighter." Looking to Hiruzen, she asked, "Do you really believe I can handle it?" He smiled warmly. "Not yet. But the exams are coming, I'll guide you until then. Will you take up your family's legacy and fulfill the dreams of those you lost?" Tsunade's lips curved into a bittersweet smile. "You old monkey, always pulling at my heart. Very well, I'll accept. I'll be the next Hokage. Teach me, sensei." Clone Naruto let out a quiet breath as he gazed toward the forest he had shaped, spotting Sasuke scaling a tree using only his palms. It was similar to tree climbing, but inverted, forcing chakra control through the hands. A full week had passed since Naruto began teaching Sasuke the finer points of chakra manipulation, so he could better handle the jutsu Danzo had seized from who knows where. Alongside that, Naruto also guided him through taijutsu routines. Soon, it would be time to begin shaping Sasuke's natural fire affinity, something Naruto couldn't handle alone. For that, he had the perfect person in mind. Kakashi headache. A small smile tugged at Naruto's lips as he watched Sasuke progress. The boy was growing stronger every day. If Itachi could be returned, Naruto was certain Sasuke would one day serve as one of Konoha's pillars. Yet a question lingered in his thoughts. Once Sasuke awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, then what? Was there a way to obtain it without suffering? He made a mental note to ask Itachi when the time came. All right, Sasuke, that's enough for today. Sasuke flipped gracefully from the trunk, jogging toward him. Anything else, Naruto-sensei? Naruto shook his head. I thought about running you through some conditioning drills, but I think it's better you spend time with your fellow graduates. Go enjoy yourself. A grin broke across Sasuke's face as he bowed. Thank you, Naruto-sensei. I'll wash up and head out. Good, you've come a long way, Sasuke. Itachi would be proud. Don't worry, Jiraiya will see him home. Sasuke gave a firm nod before darting inside. Naruto chuckled softly. He remembered how both he and Hiruzen had explained Sasuke's situation to the Konoha 11, warning them of the changes in his outlook. Sure enough, the day Sasuke greeted them all with warmth and encouragement, jaws nearly hit the floor. It took time, but everyone adjusted to this new Sasuke. Now, he often returned from training with the group battered and bruised, yet smiling, repeating his mantra. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Naruto couldn't deny the truth in those words. Sasuke had endured much, but his path ahead was finally beginning to shine. Far beneath Odo, two figures sat across a stone table, their voices low as they schemed about the upcoming Chunin exams. One of them spoke with unease, worried about Konoha's rising strength and security. My spy inside Konoha has yet to be discovered, and his reports are troubling. The village is strengthening faster than we predicted, all thanks to that Senju brat. If this keeps up, the invasion may fail. The second man only smiled. Relax, Orochimaru. I have a method to weaken Konoha and its allies. A little blackmail, a little infiltration, enough to tip the scales. I'll keep the details to myself in case the wrong ears catch wind. Orochimaru tilted his head, smirking. So you don't trust me, or perhaps you doubt yourself. The other man's eyes narrowed. His hand lashed out, striking Orochimaru across the face. Don't underestimate me. My army may be gone, but I still know how to survive. Focus on your forces. Train them however you like. Just be ready when the time comes. Orochimaru chuckled darkly. Coo, and I assume this meeting never happened. Exactly, the man said, rising to leave. Once my mission is finished, you'll never see me again. As the footsteps faded, Orochimaru licked his lips, whispering to himself. You're as slippery as ever, old friend. But what game are you truly playing? Konoha afternoon, training ground. The Konoha 11 had gathered, the field alive with movement, chakra control drills, sparring, kenjutsu katas, and bursts of ninjutsu. Sasuke, once an outsider, now trained among them like family. Still, a quiet ache lingered in him. Itachi. He had told them the truth of the massacre only a few days after their bond solidified, and that honesty only drew them closer together. Sitting beneath a tree, Sasuke meditated as Naruto had instructed. It sharpened chakra control and forced him to heighten his non-visual senses, sound, scent, presence. He was still learning, but progress was progress. He sensed Kiba before he even spoke. Kiba. What brings you here? Akamaru barked, making Sasuke laugh. And you too, Akamaru, Kiba shivered. Man, I hate how you do that. Think you could teach us sometime. Anyway, we were thinking about a free-for-all spar. Sasuke stretched and rose to his feet. I could pass on what Naruto-sensei taught me, but it'd be better from him directly. As for your spar, I'm in. But let me ask him first. Before Kiba could reply, Sasuke vanished in a swirl of fiery orange. Kiba blinked. What the was that new? Hinata, who had seen, only nodded. Before she could add anything, the ground rippled as a whirlpool of chakra formed, revealing a cheerful Naruto and a nauseous-looking Sasuke. Gah, stop doing that. You're just a clone, Sasuke groaned. Naruto ruffled his student's shoulder-length hair with a grin. You'll get used to Shunshin eventually. So Kiba, I heard you wanted help sharpening your senses. Kiba nodded. Yeah. Our clan's senses are strong, sure, but we've never been trained to refine them. That's a weakness I want to fix. Shino adjusted his glasses and stepped forward. Naruto-san, my father mentioned that during Danzo's trial, my hive reacted poorly to his emotions. He nearly lost control. He wondered if there was a way to teach us how to temper our feelings to make the hive more combat-ready. Naruto nodded. Good questions, and yes, both come down to meditation. Anyone can improve focus, senses, and emotional control through it. Want to try? The group nodded eagerly. YOSH, Lee shouted. Your flames of youth burn brightly, Naruto-san. Naruto bonked him lightly on the head. And you need to control those flames. Outbursts like that can give away positions. Also, the jumpsuit great spirit, bad camouflage. Lee sulked but accepted it. Tenten shuffled forward nervously. Naruto-san. Could I see your katana? Naruto shook his head firmly. No, it isn't a showpiece, it's a weapon of war. My true self only reveals it to family. Sorry. Tenten nodded politely. I understand. Then maybe you could help me with kenjutsu instead, Naruto thought, then smiled. Sasuke mentioned a spar, right? Everyone perked up. Neji frowned. Wait, you mean all of us against you? Fate is cruel indeed. Ino giggled, Choji munched on chips, and Shikamaru sighed. Troublesome. Naruto clapped. Exactly, I could take you all down. Before anyone replied, a puff of smoke cleared to reveal Hiruzen Sarutobi, clad in battle gear. The group bowed immediately. No need for honorifics, the old man said with a chuckle. Tsunade is covering the office, and her clone handles hospital duties. Right now, I'm simply Hiruzen Sarutobi, shinobi of Konoha. Naruto smirked. So, old monkey, you want in on this too? The group gaped as Hiruzen nodded. It's been too long since I stretched these bones. I'll stand aside until you finish with them. Sai chimed in. Actually, it'd be more useful to watch you and Naruto spar. Maybe in a larger ground. The others whispered among themselves before Sasuke voiced their agreement. We'd all like to see it. If we push ourselves, maybe one day we can reach your level. Naruto and Hiruzen laughed warmly, clapping each other on the back. In that case, Naruto said, why not make it a demonstration for the whole village? Show them what true shinobi resolve looks like. Hiruzen's eyes widened. The stadium? Are you insane? If we go all out, we'll level it and kill civilians. Naruto wagged a finger. Never underestimate seals, old friend. I can raise barriers strong enough to hold us and reinforce the arena. But if I do, this clone will dispel, and I won't be here to train Sasuke or the rest of you. Awa, we want to see you fight, Sakura whined, earning laughs. Fine, Naruto relented. But promise me one thing, if I disappear, no slacking. Train like your lives depend on it. Because when my true self returns, and if he finds you slacked, you'll suffer the same punishment training my father once gave me. Hiruzen paled. He knew that training, it was grueling, torturous even, but effective. The mere memory of it sent a chill down his spine. We promise, the Konoha 11 shouted, a mix of determination and nervousness in their voices. They had no desire to find out what punishment training entailed. After all, their regular drills were already brutal enough. Naruto nodded. All right then. Looks like we'll have a sparring session, Hiruzen. How long has it been since our last one? Hiruzen chuckled softly. Too long, Naruto. Far too long. Shall we make it a full battle royale in a week? Extending his hand, Naruto shook it firmly. A week it is. He then turned toward the Konoha 11 as Hiruzen settled under a tree, eyes twinkling, observing. Now, you mentioned learning to control your emotions, right? With Naruto, Forest of Hope Naruto had chosen the ruins of an old, heavily fortified bunker as the operational hub for the shinobi handling espionage missions. Initially, the dense forest caused a lot of navigational issues, but clever sealing techniques solved the problem. Each operative had a tiny seal placed on the back of their earlobe, linked to the HQ on the island. If they were ever in danger, the seal could summon them back immediately. May had been impressed. The once high casualty rate on such missions was nearly eliminated. If someone was captured, the seal offered a safe escape. Naruto sat meditating, waiting for incoming reports. It wasn't long before he sensed someone approaching. Any updates, soldier? He asked, voice calm, eyes closed, which made the approaching shinobi flinch. Recovering from his surprise, the young man bowed. Yes, sir. I managed to knock out an ANBU and take his form to infiltrate the base. I know it was risky and technically against orders, but what I discovered is remarkable. Naruto raised an eyebrow, slowly opening his eyes. He held out his hand, and the shinobi placed the scroll there. Naruto's chakra flared, opening it, and he quickly scanned the documents. A smile formed as he sealed it back up. "And your name, soldier?" The man bowed deeply. "Kenshin Naruto-sama." Naruto let out a soft laugh. "The same as one of my old sensei, interesting. You did well. With this information, we might end this war in just 2 weeks. How would you feel about a promotion to captain?" Kenshin's eyes widened. "Sir, I'm honored, but I must decline. I only did what was necessary, even if it broke protocol. What punishment do I face?" Naruto stood, placing a hand on Kenshin's shoulder, meeting his hazel eyes. "You did break protocol, but the best soldiers always question orders. You may doubt yourself, but I don't. You turned down a promotion and asked for punishment for doing what you thought was right. Congratulations, Captain Kenshin. You earned it." Kenshin's face lit up. "Thank you, Naruto-sama, I will give my all." As Kenshin left, Naruto called after him with a grin, "Do or do not, there is no try." Returning to the scroll, Naruto vanished in a shimmer of shunshin, heading straight for Mei's tent. Mei's tent inside, Mei, Ao, and Isamu studied a detailed map of Kiri. Red circles marked potential points of attack, as well as possible entryways. Their discussion paused when Naruto threw the scroll onto the table. "Naruto, what's this?" Mei asked, raising an eyebrow. "Clearly a scroll, Mei-sama," Isamu quipped, earning a laugh from Ao. Mei glared, her voice sugar-sweet yet ominous. "Shut up, both of you, before I melt you." They waved their hands defensively, while Naruto and Kurama shared an amused chuckle over the trio's dynamic. "Isamu is right, it's a scroll," Naruto continued. "But Kenshin, now a captain thanks to going above and beyond, hit the jackpot. This scroll contains Yagura's battle plans and counterplans." All three whipped their heads toward Naruto, astonished. Mei's voice broke through. "Could Yagura have left this for us intentionally?" Shaking his head, Naruto replied, "No, he wouldn't expect such audacity. Honestly, I wonder what he's thinking right now." In Kiri, Cage Office, Yagura's expression was stone as he listened to the captured ANBU's report. "Could you repeat that? I must have misheard." The ANBU scratched his head nervously. "Someone knocked me out and impersonated me to steal your battle plans, Lord Yagura." Yagura's eyes went cold, then he exploded. "You!" Back in the tent, the 4 shinobi examined the plans, ears straining at what they thought was a whisper in the wind. "Did anyone else hear that?" Ao asked, shrugs all around. "Huh, either the wind or someone's really angry." Naruto groaned, while Mei muttered, "Shut up, Ao, before I melt you." The documents revealed traps along the attack points, details of the rebellion's base, troop placements, and weaknesses. After hours of strategizing, one fact was clear. There was a mole. Naruto excused himself, sensing a sudden spike of chakra he had somehow missed earlier. A female spy, cloaked in black, raced through the camp toward Yagura, desperate to deliver urgent news. She stumbled over rising earth, falling face first. A familiar voice stopped her. "Going somewhere," Naruto's tone was icy. "I have to commend you for evading my censors, but your spying days are over." Before she could react, Naruto sealed her with paralysis and chakra disruption, returning to the tent for interrogation. Hours later, bound to a chair in a separate room, the spy awoke groaning. Naruto stood before her, terrifyingly calm. "Good, you're awake. We'll start with simple questions. Cooperate and you'll remain unharmed, though detained until the war ends. Understand?" The spy nodded. Naruto paced slowly. "Your name?" After a tense pause, she answered, "Toshiko." "Rank and affiliation?" "Spy second in command under Yagura." Naruto's eyes narrowed. "How many troops and any outposts near our base?" "Never." "You'll get nothing." Naruto bent low, grasping her feet. Nature chakra surged from him, creeping up her body, turning flesh to wood. "Answer now and I reverse it. Keep dodging and you'll become one of my statues in my garden." Toshiko hissed. "You sick, demented?" "Answer." Naruto's fake pain mocked her. Her lower body had hardened. Finally, panic overtook her. "Okay, Yagura has 5,000 troops, only 2 outposts. One's gone, the other is east of camp. Are you satisfied?" Naruto released his hands, but the process had gone too far. He watched her silently as she transformed into a wooden statue. Mei, Ao, and Isamu arrived to witness the aftermath. "Well, remind me never to get on your bad side," Isamu muttered, fear evident. Mei asked, "What about the body?" Naruto inhaled deeply and shattered the statue with a punch. Mei quickly turned it to ash. "The remains will be scattered at sea, and a memorial held." She may have been our enemy, but she died as a shinobi honorably. May her spirit rest in peace. May was about to respond, but she froze in awe as Naruto lifted his hand above the dirt, shaping a stone jar with precise earth manipulation. She watched silently as he began collecting the ashes, understanding it was time to step back and give him space. "You won't be forgotten, Toshiko," Naruto murmured, his voice steady. "Every shinobi I meet, friend or foe, who dies with honor will receive the same respect. Rest easy." Kurama tilted his head, his voice a mix of wonder and worry. "You're a fascinating one, Kit. Sometimes you're as stubborn and fierce as your father, and other times you're so compassionate. Has the time you grew up in affected you this deeply?" "I'm not going to end my life, Kurama, if that's what you fear," Naruto said gently. "I only want to see peace. I want the fighting to end. I want to rid this world of its hatred." Kurama's lips curved into a small smile. "You know, Kit, you remind me of someone from long ago, the Sage of Six Paths. He too longed for peace. Maybe that old seal's failure set you on a path to accomplish what my father could not." Naruto didn't respond, severing the connection quietly. Yet as he walked away, carrying the jar of ashes, a thought lingered in his mind, one Kurama would never hear. "Maybe you're right, Kurama. Maybe everything that led me here has a purpose." 1 week later, Konoha Stadium, the stadium was packed. Today wasn't just a demonstration. It was a showcase of how two legendary kage could fight, and how far the new generation of shinobi had come with training and dedication. Massive barrier seals protected the crowd, ensuring that even the stray jutsu would be stopped before causing any harm. As villagers, Jonin, and Anbu scrambled for seats, they spotted Naruto's clone, clad in his armor, and Hiruzen similarly armored, both meditating on the stadium floor. Sakura frowned. "Why are they meditating, right now?" Kakashi, appearing beside her, nodded. "They're more than just meditating. They're preparing their minds, synchronizing their chakra for combat. It used to be common among older shinobi. It's a shame it's rarely taught anymore." Kiba scoffed. "It can't be that hard, just clearing your mind, right?" "Wrong," Shikamaru replied with a sigh. "This is battle meditation. It requires a level of focus most can't even comprehend. Troublesome, honestly." Inoichi overheard and added, "The Yamanaka clan has studied it in depth. When someone reaches this level, they can connect with their inner self so deeply that they might even anticipate the battle ahead." The crowd fell silent in awe as the two kage rose. Naruto assumed a Senju Taijutsu stance, while Hiruzen took his iconic monkey stance. Their cold, battle-hardened eyes hinted at the countless wars they had witnessed. "Seems everyone's ready, old friend. Shall we start with Taijutsu?" Naruto asked, a smirk on his face. Hiruzen nodded. "Yes, our match begins now." In an instant, both vanished into blurs, leaving trails of destruction behind. Fists met armor, knees collided, and sonic booms echoed through the stadium. Even Kakashi and Sasuke struggled to track their speed. After a brief pause, they reappeared, only to vanish again. Hiruzen launched an uppercut, which Naruto deflected. A knee strike followed, blocked by Hiruzen, who vaulted over him for a roundhouse kick. Naruto ducked, countered with a mule kick to Hiruzen's chest plate, and followed up with a flurry of punches, each blocked expertly by the seasoned Hokage. Sonic booms filled the arena. This is incredible. I never imagined Hokage-sama and Naruto-sama could move like this," Choji exclaimed, dropping his snack in amazement. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Asuma, and the advisors Hamura and Koharu laughed in unison. "You've barely seen the beginning," they said. As they reappeared, both fighters were smirking, bloodied but unbowed. A puff of smoke revealed Enma beside Hiruzen. Well, still kicking, Naruto, how's it going?" Enma asked with a grin. Naruto chuckled. "Been a while, Enma. Mind transforming into your staff. We're in the middle of a match." With a puff of smoke, Hiruzen's staff appeared. Naruto's hand rested on Raging Whirlpool, his clone's blade mimicking the legendary sword. The crowd gasped, particularly Tenten. No way. That sword, it was lost to history," she whispered. Ino looked puzzled. "Tenten, it's Raging Whirlpool," Tenten explained. "A sentient Uzumaki katana, only 6 wielders in history. Whoever carries it gains the fury of the ocean itself." Shikamaru muttered. "Troublesome," Shikaku chuckled softly. "For once I agree, son." The battle resumed. Hiruzen attacked first, swinging Enma. Naruto waited, eyes closed, then leaped and landed atop the staff, countering with raging whirlpool. Sparks flew as the staff fought back, striking low, parried expertly by Naruto. Using the staff as a pole vault, Hiruzen attempted a flying kick, only to have Naruto catch his leg. With the butt of his katana, Naruto pounded Hiruzen's face repeatedly. 10 strikes later, Hiruzen broke free, bloodied but laughing. "Reminds me of the old days with Hashirama," Naruto said. Hiruzen chuckled. "Indeed, are we done with warm-ups?" Naruto grinned. "Yep." They vanished again, the stadium echoing with the sound of metal on metal. After 3 intense minutes, minor injuries were visible: cuts, bruises, cracked ribs, and a broken nose. Even with Kurama's clone, healing wasn't possible. "Shall we move to the main event?" Naruto asked, sheathing raging whirlpool. "Even with broken fingers, huh?" Hiruzen teased. Naruto smirked as the jutsu began. "Fire release, fire dragon flame bullet," Hiruzen roared, flames surging. Calmly, Naruto responded, "Water release, water dragon bullet technique." The 2 elemental dragons collided, creating a massive steam cloud that shrouded the arena. "Wood release, cutting technique," Naruto added, sending wooden spikes toward Hiruzen. Quickly, the Hokage countered with an earth wall, then an earth dragon, only for Naruto to split it with water-severing wave. Hiruzen was grazed on the shoulder, but both smiled despite their injuries. Naruto then invoked the snake seal, creating a smaller version of the Kiri technique. "Wood release, nativity of a sea of trees." The stadium watched in shock as a forest grew rapidly, even Hiruzen struggling to dodge. "I thought the stories of Hashirama's forest were exaggerations, but this," a genin whispered in awe. "I hope we can get that strong someday. Do you think Naruto-sama or Hokage-sama would give us tips?" A young academy student blurts out. The enthusiasm in the academy, as well as among the fresh genin, is palpable. Older shinobi can't help but chuckle at the students' determination. Tsunade beams with pride, watching the fire of ambition grow in them. It reminded her of the same spirit Hashirama had when he built the village from the ground up. Meanwhile, on the stadium floor, Hiruzen wipes sweat from his brow while perched atop a tree branch. "Man, I shouldn't be this tired. I really need to get in shape," he mutters, letting out a small laugh. "I wonder if Naruto has an anti-aging seal lying around. One can dream." Suddenly, a spike of wood erupts from the tree where he had been sitting. "Hey, old monkey, think you can survive in my playground?" Naruto's voice echoes from the forest. Hiruzen plays along, smirking. "Think you can survive in mine? This is going to take everything I've got." Without a word, the Hokage stomps on the ground, cracking the stadium floor. Flames leap from the fissures. Naruto curses but barely has time to respond before Hiruzen unleashes the earth release. Rock shelter, encasing himself in a protective dome. Moments later, a colossal explosion of fire erupts at the opposite end of the stadium. Hiruzen collapses onto one knee, panting, as the smoke clears to reveal the Naruto clone badly burnt, barely holding together. "Good match, old monkey. If that were the real me, I wouldn't have held back. Looks like you've still got some training to do. Oh, and by the way, Kiri should be free next week. My boss is looking forward to visiting Konoha again." Yani, the Naruto clone dissolves into wood particles, scattering across the stadium floor along with the surrounding trees. Hiruzen chuckles shakily, brushing himself off. "Seems I've been too confined in that office for too long. Being old really sucks." The crowd erupts in cheers. Everyone is impressed, though Himura, Koharu, Tsunade, and Jiraiya remember Hiruzen being even stronger. They recall the fierce rivalry he had with Naruto growing up, always trying to outdo each other. It's clear now that Naruto has gained the upper hand. 2 of them, however, have a plan involving seals to restore Hiruzen to his prime. Could an anti-aging seal really work? Jiraiya wonders aloud before shunshining back to his home, eager to figure out the solution. Kiri, en route to the rebellion base, Naruto had just finished leading a platoon with Kenshin by his side to the last outpost. The base was far larger than anticipated, and it had taken nearly a week to thoroughly search it, eliminating or capturing any Yagura loyalists. Naruto was impressed with Kenshin's leadership. He knew how to boost morale, give clear orders, and make smart judgments under pressure. During their return to the base camp, Naruto reflects on the memories he gathered from the clone at Wave. After a short meditation, He feels satisfied with the outcome, but can't help thinking of his old friend. I wonder if a reverse-aging seal could work for my old monkey, whom seems like it'd take two seal masters working together, he mutters. Kenshin, overhearing him, asks, "Something wrong, Naruto-sama?" Shaking his head, Naruto smiles. "Not at all, just reminiscing. You did well this week, Kenshin, all of you did. In 2 days, we march on Kiri and finally put an end to the suffering caused by these rebels." Cheers erupt among the troops as they return with minimal casualties. Naruto and Kurama share a quiet smile, thinking of how freeing Kiri would be just the first step toward lasting peace. Yet, unknown to them, shadows stir in the distance, waiting for the right moment to strike and repeat history. 2 days later, Yagura sits in his office, which is now a ruin after an unbridled outburst. Biju Chakra had turned his desk to splinters, incinerated his bookcase, and left anyone reporting the last outpost as nothing more than a bloody smear on the floor. First my plans are stolen, then my spy is discovered and killed, and now my outposts are destroyed. Yagura roars, gripping his staff, the only intact object left. A new secretary hesitantly speaks, Yagura-sama." "What?" he snaps, making her instinctively shield her ears. "I've been informed the village is under attack by the rebellion," she says calmly. Blood drips from Yagura's fists as he storms out, smashing the secretary's skull against the floor with his staff in a brutal display. "I'll show those rebel scum. They will learn the power of a Jinchuriki." Rebellion. Kiri Gates, Mei, and Naruto lead the assault, while Ao and Isamu watch the camp and tend to the wounded, secured by 20 wood clones Naruto left behind. Approaching the gates, Naruto and Mei exchange a quick hand sign sequence, a display that leaves their allies in awe. "Water release, great waterfall technique," both shout, unleashing a massive wave that crashes over the gates and topples buildings like a tsunami. As the wave recedes, Naruto uses water whips to fling attackers into each other with devastating force. Mei coordinates the squads. Kenshin, Alpha Squad takes the northeast, Beta the northwest, Gamma the southeast, Delta the southwest. "Move, hi Mei-sama." Mei laughs as about 100 attackers rush at her, melting them with lava release, melting apparition technique. Nearby, Naruto swings into action, effortlessly snapping legs and pulverizing enemies with cage speed punches. "Let's make this interesting, a jutsu contest," he yells, even mid-battle. Kunai bounce off him, but Naruto vanishes with ocean fury, appearing behind the attackers and eliminating them silently. Mei, grinning, responds with boil release, skilled mist technique, melting anyone foolish enough to approach her. Naruto, taking advantage of the pause, counters with his own signature move, Uzumaki's secret technique, Maelstrom of Destruction, sending a whirlpool of destruction around flanking enemies, leaving nothing but chunks of red-stained debris. After 10 minutes, the 4 quadrants are secure. Mei smirks at Naruto. "About that dinner, were you hoping it's a date?" Naruto chuckles. "As lovely as you are, the answer's no. Someone else is already waiting to confess her love to me. Why do you ask?" Mei initially pouted, then let out a soft laugh. "You won the challenge. I was about to throw up seeing what you did. It reminded me of, oh, Naruto, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring up the past." Naruto waved his hand dismissively. "It's all in the past now, Mei. I'm focused on the future, it's much brighter." Yagura made his presence felt. "Wise words, Senju-sama." He turned his gaze to Mei. "Ah, Mei, how are you feeling? Did coming home to face me over your deceased parents inspire this rebellion of yours?" Mei's fists clenched in rage, ready to strike, but Naruto's hand rested lightly on her shoulder, stopping her. "Control your anger, Mei," he said. "Rash decisions lead to defeat. Let me handle Yagura alone, you help lead the rebellion." She exhaled sharply, nodding. She knew Naruto's strength far exceeded hers. Yagura lunged at her, but a single punch, like Tsunade's, sent him crashing into his own cage tower over 2 football fields away. "Kurama, I'm setting the seal now," Naruto said, "but we'll call it when the moment comes. Are you ready? Are you sure it'll work? Last time you nearly killed yourself." "Thank you, Captain Obvious." "You're welcome, Sergeant Sarcasm." "Indeed, Comrade Comeback." "Thanks, Senior Smartass." "Anytime, Dictator Dickhead." A long silence fell over the mindscape. Then both Kurama and Naruto exploded into laughter, rolling on the ground, clutching their sides. Their amusement ended abruptly as Yagura roared and tackled Naruto, raining punches down on him. Naruto had enough. A surge of chakra flung Yagura off, and brushing off his armor, Naruto assumed the raging tide stance and unsheathed his katana. Yagura readied his staff. With blinding speed, they collided, their battle only beginning. With Kenshin and his squad, the sounds of battle echoed through the streets, screams of the dying, blood flowing like rivers, severed limbs scattered everywhere. Kenshin and his 300-man squad faced heavy resistance, but after 10 minutes it began to thin. He gathered some troops for a briefing. "The ANBU base I infiltrated isn't far," he said. "I'll lead 10 into the high-risk zone. Volunteers?" 10 hands shot up, the others stayed down. "Good, the rest patrol the area. Deal with resistance as it comes. Yagura's purge has made things easier for us. My team, henge into ANBU and follow me." "Hi, Teichu," the group replied. As Kenshin and his 10 henged into ANBU, the remaining troops prepared the area. Inside the ANBU base, ANBU moved in organized chaos, barking orders. One captain noticed Kenshin's group and rushed over. "Do you need assistance? We lost contact with the Northeast squad. The rebellion may have reached them." Kenshin answered for his team. "We misplaced our responders and weapons. May we enter and reach our posts?" The captain glanced over the group, noting the absence of gear. "Fine, but one more slip and you'll be cleaning toilets with toothbrushes." Kenshin nodded. "Hi, sir, follow me." Inside, he led them to a vacant room. "Orders, sir?" one soldier asked. "We're going to blow this place sky high." "How many explosive tags do you carry?" A soldier stepped forward. 50 each, sir." A gleam lit Kenshin's eyes. "Over 500 little fireworks? Perfect. Let's start with their armory." The team moved through the base, planting explosives on boxes and storage areas. They finished in 5 minutes, grabbing standard ANBU gear on the way out. Outside, the captain tried to stop them. His hand passed through Kenshin, a ghostly illusion, and before he could react, a soldier struck him down. "Shit," Kenshin muttered. "Release the henge and run. Mission's compromised, but get ready for fireworks." He triggered the explosives. The blast erupted into a massive mushroom cloud, obliterating the ANBU and clearing the path for the rebellion. With Mei traveled to the southwest quadrant, expecting heavy resistance. Instead, her troops had already secured the area. "Report," she called. A soldier bowed. "Mei-sama, all hostiles are neutralized." They were using this quadrant as a prison for bloodline users. Many homes were converted into cells. And the prisoners? Most are malnourished and near death. Numbers: southwest alone, about 500. Southeast reports 300 more. For unknown reasons, these areas weren't heavily guarded. A distant explosion caught everyone's attention. A mushroom cloud rose in the sky. Mei laughed softly. That would be Kenshin. He just took out the ANBU base. Explains why the southern quadrants were lightly defended. "Orders, Mei-sama. Care for the prisoners, provide rations. This war will be ours by nightfall." "Hi, Mei-sama." As her soldiers attended to the captives, Mei smiled. Soon, she moved to coordinate the remaining quadrants. With Naruto and Yagura, Naruto dodged a swing from Yagura's staff, flipping back into Raging Tide stance. For 3 minutes, neither gained the upper hand, though Yagura had minor scratches. Naruto surged forward to disarm him, but Yagura countered with water mirror technique. A clone shot out, blades clashing, but Naruto overpowered it, shattering the water duplicate. "I've held back, Yagura," Naruto warned. "I don't want to harm my own, but don't make me do what I must." Yagura laughed. "You lie, I face my crimes, yet I will not let you win." Naruto reversed his grip on the katana, the blade glowing blue. He stepped forward. Raging whirlpool technique. Tempest storm. Blue chakra and yellow lightning erupted from the blade, striking Yagura. The attack landed, yet a sinister surge of chakra followed. As dust cleared, Yagura revealed his version 2-tailed beast form. Black and red, 3 tails thrashing. Naruto sheathed his sword, narrowly dodging chakra arms, and backflipped away. Yagura smashed his tails into the ground, blocking landing points. Quick Shunshin moves kept Naruto ahead, but Yagura's rampage left destruction in his wake. "Got to get him out of the village," Naruto muttered, spotting a chakra arm. Grabbing it, he hurled Yagura into the ocean, healing quickly before rushing forward to meet him once more. Outside Kiri, Yagura let out a feral roar and leapt onto a nearby island, scanning for any trace of Naruto. Where was the Senju, you ask? He was sprinting across the water toward the island, forming hand signs in rapid succession. The technique he was about to attempt was something Hashirama had once taught him in theory, though Naruto had never actually tried it before. Hope this works, watch over me, father. Boar, dog, bird, monkey, ram, monkey, tiger. Hawkage-style 60-year-old technique, Kakuin entering society with bliss-bringing hands. Suddenly, Yagura found himself surrounded by 11 towering wooden pillars, each studded with 5 iron spikes aimed directly at him. Before the Mizukage could react, Naruto lunged forward, his right palm glowing with the kanji for sit Chinese letter, and slammed it into Yagura's stomach before springing back. As Naruto tried to draw out the Biju's chakra, Yagura growled and fought back fiercely. Naruto strained with effort, muttering, "Grr, how did father make this look so easy? I really need to study his scrolls more." The Jinchuriki's monstrous form began to peel away, revealing his human body beneath, but Yagura refused to yield. "I will never surrender," he gasped, summoning another burst of chakra that shattered Naruto's technique. "Damn it, Kurama, he's going full beast, are you ready? I've been waiting since we first met, Kit." Naruto bit his thumb, drawing blood, and smeared the seal over his stomach and the one on his left hand. Performing a series of hand signs, he slammed his hands to the ground as Aisabu emerged. "Summoning technique, Kurama!" A red cloud of smoke erupted, and the Kyuubi reappeared in the real world for the first time since the legendary battle at the Valley of the End, with Naruto standing atop his head, just like Madara had years ago. "Hello, Aisabu, about time we had that spar we promised ages ago," Kurama said with a sly grin. "Kurama, you dare oppose me? You're trapped in a genjutsu, Aisabu. Fight it, we all want to see the real you again." Aisabu ignored the plea, letting out a deafening roar as the two charged at one another, one aiming to kill, the other to reclaim a lost ally. With Mei. Meanwhile, Mei was finishing up work in the northwest quadrant when she saw Naruto hurl Yagura out of the village with incredible force. She ordered her forces to gather and assist the prisoners. Minutes later, a plume of red smoke rose and a fully formed Aisabu appeared. Everyone froze in shock at what emerged. "Kyuubi," Kenshin stammered. "The beast, it's back," Mei's eyes widened. The last known host of the Kyuubi was Mito. Rumor said it died with her. "But of course," she nodded, piecing it together. Seeing the rebels ready to engage the Kyuubi, Mei raised her hand sharply. "Stand down, everyone. Naruto-sama has contained that beast for over 50 years. Clearly, both sides have reached an understanding." "But Mei-sama," a soldier protested. "No buts, follow orders or I will personally melt you. Do I make myself clear?" The soldiers paled and chorused, "Hi, Mei-sama." Mei turned her attention back to the battle from a distance, helping with prisoner care, food distribution, and village recovery, even as the massive clash raged on. Rebellion base Isamu and Ao, along with the others, heard 2 enormous roars echoing. They turned, pale at the sight. The Kyuubi and Aisabu were locked in a colossal battle. "This is insane. Wait, who's on the Kyuubi's head?" Isamu squinted. Using his Byakugan, Ao gasped in surprise, then smiled. "Naruto-sama controls the Kyuubi. This war will be over quickly, just watch." Back with Naruto and Yagura, both tailed beasts leapt back and unleashed their jutsu. Aisabu fired a great water mass bullet. Kurama countered with a torrent of fire. The attacks collided, filling the sky with steam. Using the distraction, Aisabu formed a tailed beast ball aimed at Kurama, who responded with one of his own. Both attacks collided in midair, exploding into a blinding light that resembled a second sun visible across the elemental nations. Aisabu tried to rush in with Shell Tower falling, but Kurama whipped up a wind tornado, sending the turtle skyward. Not stopping there, Kurama's chakra arms grabbed Aisabu midair and slammed him into the island, splitting it in 2. "Damn, Kurama, overkill much," Naruto remarked. "You have any suppression seals ready?" Kurama ignored him. "Yeah, hold the turtle for me," Naruto replied. "Your summoning seal only lasts so long, Kit." Naruto groaned as Kurama returned to the seal, aware that his homemade seal needed improvement. A glowing signal under the water made him tense. He quickly formed hand signs and raised a defensive formation just in time. "Summoning, quintuple Rashomon." 5 massive Rashomon gates erupted, taking the brunt of the tailed beast ball. 3 were shattered, but the remaining 2 held, buying Naruto time. He shifted into Sage mode and channeled one of his most powerful wood release techniques. Sage Art, Wood Release. True several thousand hands. A colossal wooden Buddha appeared, its thousands of hands extending in concentric rows. Standing atop the statue, Naruto directed the hands against the charging Isabu. The turtle had no chance, being slammed mercilessly into the crater below. Naruto dissolved the statue and leapt down, placing a suppression seal on the back of Isabu's head. Yagura appeared, looking only at Naruto and saying one final word before darkness claimed him. "Thank you." In aim 12 people gathered in a room when Tobai suddenly gasped, lurching forward. Everyone turned, alarmed. "It seems Yagura's genjutsu has been broken. The rebels have won the war. Wait, I see it," Tobai muttered, eyes widening. "No, this can't be." He examined the last vision transmitted by Yagura and chuckled darkly. "Hashirama's son finally emerges from hiding. We will meet soon, Senju." Nearby, a fair-skinned man with chin-length red hair, Rinnegan eyes, and standard Akatsuki attire nodded to a blue-haired woman adorned with a large paper flower. They excused themselves quietly as Tobai looked on, intrigued but preoccupied with his next move. 2 days later, Uzu Kushina was buried in paperwork when a messenger delivered an envelope. Curious, she opened it and read the contents aloud. "Kushina, we have tracked the Akatsuki meticulously, detailing their members and abilities. For security, the information is sealed with Uzumaki blood. The leader sensed Yagura's genjutsu being broken and may have recovered what he saw. Forward this to Konoha immediately and convene a meeting with allies. We will continue monitoring the situation." Nagato and Konan Kushina read the letter carefully, then unsealed the contents. Paling at the names and skills of the Akatsuki, she quickly wrote a report to the Hokage, ensuring delivery the same day. 4 days later, Konoha Gates Naruto arrived at the gates of his home, feeling a quiet sense of satisfaction. The journey from Wave had been long, but his mission was complete. Kiri was rebuilding quickly, thanks to his wood release. Yagura was stable, remorseful, and had nominated Mei as Mizukage, with him as second in command, a role he accepted gratefully. With Naruto and Mei's guidance, thoughts of suicide were averted, and the village formed alliances with Uzu and Konoha's other allies. Konoha, Uzu, Kiri, and Suna stood united, while Iwa and Kumo maintained their alliance. Greeted warmly by gate guards Kotsu and Izumo, Naruto made his way toward the Hokage Tower, receiving cheers and requests for help along the way. He reassured everyone that important matters came first, knowing the path ahead was far from over. Hokage Tower. Office Hiruzen was quietly puffing on his pipe, skimming through his latest reading while enjoying the rare calm at his clear desk. The only thing troubling him was a letter from Kushina. A meeting had been planned for when Naruto returned. Fortunately, that moment had finally arrived. A knock on the door and Naruto stepped in. "Ah, Naruto. I take it the civil unrest in Kiri has been resolved?" Hiruzen asked, putting aside his reading material. Naruto ignored the question for now. "Even better, old monkey." With a flick of his wrist, Naruto tossed a scroll at Hiruzen, who caught it, unrolled it, and read. "You negotiated a peace treaty with Kiri. Incredible, Naruto. You've strengthened Konoha immensely since your return. Your father would be proud." Naruto nodded. "He was watching me all along. But Hiruzen, you seem troubled. What's on your mind?" The Hokage exhaled deeply and handed over Kushina's letter. Naruto took it, opening the seal with curiosity, and began reading. "Hokage-sama, my informants in the Akatsuki have compiled intel on their members' strength and identities. I've attached their list for Naruto to review upon his return. My spies also recommend convening a meeting with all allies as soon as possible. Once Naruto reads the list, inform me and the others. We have much to discuss." Kushina Uzumaki, Uzukage. Naruto's eyes landed on a single name. Instantly, a surge of silver chakra burst forth, making the walls, ceiling, and furniture tremble. The ANBU present collapsed from the sheer force, while Hiruzen stared in shock, trying not to faint. "I haven't felt this since Naruto destroyed Mito's garden all those years ago. Oh, Naruto, my friend, I'm so sorry." After a moment, Naruto calmed himself, taking deep, controlled breaths. He looked around, noticing the damage he'd caused, then chuckled softly. Carefully, he healed the ANBU and repaired the office. He turned back to Hiruzen, fury still simmering in his eyes. "Are you certain this list is accurate?" Hiruzen nodded. Words were unnecessary. He understood the depth of Naruto's rage. Naruto slammed the letter and list onto the desk. "Like my father, I carry a peaceful heart. Stern, headstrong, yes, but there's a side my father kept hidden: rage." He inhaled deeply, controlling his breathing. "The thought that this man is alive sickens me. Hiruzen, when a senju of old, a senju with power like mine and my father's, submits to a side he should never serve, you will witness what hell on earth truly means." His words hung in the room, dark and heavy. Before anyone could react, Naruto stormed out, seeking solitude to contain his fury. Hiruzen exhaled and picked up the list again, understanding Naruto's reaction. Beside Kushina's letter was another list for Hiruzen's eyes alone. The name circled in red: Madara Uchiha. Tanzaku Town Jirya had spent weeks tracking Itachi Uchiha through his network of spies. One relief he found amidst the search was that Itachi had not joined the mysterious Akatsuki. Deciding to call it a day, the Toad Sage made his way to a local tavern as the sun dipped below the horizon. Spotting his target in a shadowed corner, Jirya asked the bartender for a bottle of sake and a pair of saucers. Once served, he approached Itachi. Itachi looked up, unamused. "What does the Toad Sage want with me?" Jirya poured the sake and handed a saucer to Itachi, who downed it quickly, signaling for more. Sipping his own, Jirya began. "Sasuke wants you back. We know the truth about the massacre and how you were framed. The Hawkage has already cleared your missing nin status." Hours passed as they refilled their cups and recounted events: Naruto's return, the fall of the Civilian Council, Konoha's strengthening, Danzo's defeat, and Sasuke's evolution. Finally, Itachi spoke, voice heavy with disbelief. "If what you say is true, then perhaps I can finally come home and raise Sasuke as I always intended. But will he forgive me?" Jirya placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "He already has. He doesn't blame you, he blames those who conspired against your clan. Sasuke is lost, Itachi, but he needs you, someone who understands, someone to guide him." Itachi slammed the sake bottle to the floor, shattering it. "This isn't me, I'm calm, detached, but here I am, drowning in sake like a child. How can Sasuke and I ever return to normal?" Jirya spoke gently. "The past is dark. The future is a meadow of possibilities. Focus on the light, Itachi, the right path, the right choice for both you and your clan. Come home and be the mentor you were meant to be." Itachi wiped away tears, a small smile forming. "Let's go home." Following day, Konoha Gates, Sasuke waited by the gates, guarded by Izumo and Kotsu. A mysterious ANBU had summoned him with no explanation, but soon he spotted two approaching figures, Jirya and someone concealed behind him. Sasuke ran forward, shouting, "Itachionissan!" Itachi bent low, arms open. They embraced tightly, tears flowing. "I missed you, I promise I'll never leave again," Itachi whispered. "I forgive you, Itachi, always have." Back in the Uchiha district, the brothers caught up, while the Hawkage sent urgent summons to the Kazekage, Mizukage, and Uzukage regarding a potential threat. Replies indicated they'd need days to arrive, leaving Hiruzen uneasy. Meanwhile, in the Senju estates, two seal masters prepared to experiment with a technique to restore their old friend. Naruto entered the long-forgotten room where Mito's sealing error had occurred, memories stirring. Placing a hand over the seal on his stomach, he shed a quiet tear. "You okay?" Jirya asked. "I'll be fine, Jirya-sama. Just remembering, that's all." Naruto smiled, then clapped his hands. "Enough dwelling on the past, we have a seal to perfect." For the next 3 hours, they pored over notes and books, testing ideas. Nearing the end, Naruto recalled Tsunade's warning from his return. "Aging jutsu," he muttered. Jirya raised an eyebrow. "Aging what?" Naruto laughed softly. "Tsunade said she'd use it on me to make me look like the old monkey. I'm 18 in body, but mentally, 68. Jirya let out a chuckle, imagining a wrinkled, liver-spotted Naruto in the far future, but he quickly pushed the thought aside and refocused on the jutsu at hand. "Do you think it's even possible to take a jutsu, turn it into a seal, and then reverse-engineer it to perform the exact opposite?" he asked. Naruto shrugged. "I guess it could work. The seal on my hand is a summoning seal I created to link with the one on my stomach. With your spy network, I'm sure you already know what I did." The Sannin shivered. Yeah, don't remind me. So how do we make a seal that can manipulate aging? Naruto hummed thoughtfully. Well, we have stasis seals that can freeze someone in place. Maybe we could modify one to slow or stop aging. It's a start. Jiraiya nodded slowly. We might need to see Tsunadeheim's techniques in action first, just to get an idea of how to tweak a stasis seal into an aging seal. Naruto chuckled lightly. Yeah, the last thing I need is another disaster, and seeing the future again because of it. The two exchanged a firm pat on the back before heading off to Tsunade, determined to get this project moving as fast as possible. They hoped it would be ready in time for the Chunin exams. Uchiha District on the training grounds, Itachi and Sasuke were sparring when Sasuke brought up the Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi had a method to obtain it without killing, but it came with a heavy cost. Sasuke, Itachi began calmly, to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan, one normally has to witness the death of a loved one or take the life of someone closest to them. But there's a way around that. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. How? Itachi exhaled slowly, the word itself causing Sasuke to blanch. Tsukiyomi. Naruto-sensei warned me about it. It can cause comas, mental instability, other horrible things, Sasuke said, pausing before continuing. If you can guarantee no lasting damage, I'll do it. Itachi gave a small, reassuring smile. I'll do my best. Now, focus on my eyes. Sasuke watched as Itachi's eyes shifted from the three-tomo Sharingan to the Mangekyo. In an instant, his vision blacked out, and he found himself tied to a wooden cross in a crimson world under a blood-red moon. Before him stood Itachi, and to his right were the Konoha 11. Welcome to Tsukiyomi, little brother. For the next 72 hours, you will witness me kill your friends repeatedly, Itachi said, his tone chillingly monotone. This isn't real, stay calm, Sasuke, stay calm, Sasuke muttered, fighting to maintain composure. Itachi sensed his struggle. There is no escaping this, brother, watch carefully. He drew his tanto, and one by one, Sasuke's friends were mutilated before him. Memories of the Uchiha massacre resurfaced as Inouchi's mind wipe began to falter, revealing moments from Sasuke's time en route. Stop, don't, Itachi, Sasuke cried out. Itachi flicked blood from his blade. 71 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds left. Over and over, Sasuke endured the torment, initially angry at Konoha for manipulating him, but gradually understanding the necessity of the memory wipes. As he struggled, an immense pressure built within Tsukiyomi. When he opened his eyes, a biohazard symbol burned in each one, his expression hard and sharp like Madara's. He had awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. A name came to mind, and as he spoke it, black flames surged toward Itachi. Amaterasu! Itachi's eyes widened, and he quickly canceled the genjutsu. In the real world, Sasuke collapsed, blood tears streaming, clutching his head in agony. Pain racked him, and through gritted teeth, he managed, Naruto Inouchi. Without hesitation, Itachi shunted them both to the estate. Within minutes, they arrived to find Sasuke writhing in pain. Naruto rushed to his side, shouting at Itachi. What the hell did you do? Itachi sighed. I used Tsukiyomi to awaken Sasuke's miss, and before you yell, he agreed to it. Inouchi's concern showed in his voice. What exactly did you show him? Itachi had him witness the deaths of his friends. It was necessary. Naruto and Inouchi exchanged a grim look, understanding the gravity. Itachi's face fell as Inouchi explained the mind wipe and the reason behind it. Regret overtook him. What have I done? If only I had known. Don't blame yourself, Inouchi said. Let me see inside his mind. Sasuke's mindscape inside, Inouchi found Sasuke locked in a brutal battle with his dark half. Both were battered, locked in a struggle for dominance. A mindwalker intervenes. How amusing, Yami Sasuke sneered, attacking Inouchi. Sasuke quickly blocked, delivering a forceful roundhouse kick to his dark reflection. Get out, Inouchi, I can handle this. I won't let my past control me, Sasuke shouted. A massive clash of fire chakra erupted between him and Yami. Join me, Sasuke, become whole again, Yami taunted. I have Itachi and friends who support me. Naruto-sensei's chakra flows through me. Sasuke countered, fighting back with renewed strength. Suddenly, images of Mikoto and Fugaku appeared. Hello, son, Mikoto said softly. We wish we had more time together. Mom, Dad, how? We placed our chakra in you when you were born, knowing Danzo sought our clan, Fugaku explained. Now defeat your dark side. We will always be with you in spirit. Sasuke hugged them tightly. I can do this now, I feel complete. As they faded, their final words lingered. We love you, stay strong, our son. Empowered by their presence, Sasuke unleashed an overwhelming surge of chakra, banishing Yami from existence. The mindscape transformed into a peaceful forest, with gravestones marking his parents' resting place. Uchiha compound Sasuke awoke gasping, surrounded by a worried Itachi, Inoichi, and Naruto. Which Sasuke is this? Inoichi asked sternly. My dark side is gone. Itachi, training awaits. Naruto-sensei, will you join? Of course, Naruto smiled. Inoichi exhaled in relief, knowing Sasuke had truly overcome his shadow. With his presence no longer needed, he shunshined away. 2 days later, Konoha Council chambers Jiraiya, Tsunade, Hiruzen, Naruto, Kushina, the fourth Kazekage, and Mei sat gathered, ready to discuss Akatsuki matters. Guards and attendants roamed the chambers, some surprised that Hashirama's son still lived. After greetings were exchanged, everyone settled down to begin the meeting. I appreciate you all taking the time to gather here. Shall we get started? Hiruzen asked, scanning the room. Everyone nodded in agreement. Very well. Yukage-sama, the floor is yours. Kushina gave a slight nod and pulled out several copies of a document detailing the Akatsuki members and their abilities. She passed them around for everyone to examine. These lists, she began, are the culmination of years of intelligence gathered by my 2 spies, Nagato and Konin. As you can see, every individual here is S rank or higher, with extraordinary abilities. The Kazekage took a deep breath and started reading aloud the names. The Akatsuki is composed of, though I still find it hard to believe, Madara Uchiha, who goes by Tobai, Zetsu, Hiden, Kakuzu, Hanzo the Salamander, Orochimaru, Sasori, Deidara, Kasame, and Jinpachi Munashi. Mei blinked, her eyes widening at the last 2 names. Kasame and Jinpachi, 2 of the legendary 7 swordsmen, but I thought Jinpachi was dead. Apparently not, Jiraiya chimed in, his voice filled with curiosity. My network has confirmed the list. Still, what exactly they're planning is unknown. Kushina, any ideas? Kushina's expression hardened slightly. Well, my spies are second in command within the Akatsuki and know the leader intimately. And I must admit with shame that is why Madara is still alive. I'm sorry, Naruto. Naruto's fists clenched tightly, his voice low and sharp. How is that possible? Perhaps another time, my surrogate brother, Tsunade started, but the Kazekage interjected. No, I want to hear it. Yukage-sama, please continue. Kushina sighed, pressing her fingers to the bridge of her nose. All right, first, Madara did not die at the Valley of the End. He went into hiding to recover. Later, I ordered Nagato and Konin, along with a team of Jonin, to investigate mysterious chakra readings in the cliffs of the valley. When they arrived, the chakra had vanished. Hours later, they discovered a hidden cave with a dead body inside. Naruto frowned, unease creeping in. I have a bad feeling about where this is going. Kushina gave him an apologetic glance. Nagato, curious about the Rinnegan powers, used a rebirth jutsu to revive him. That's how Madara returned. The sage's eyes, impossible. The Kazekage and Mei exclaimed together. Naruto simply nodded, confirming the truth. They aren't a myth, he said. Legend says the Sage of 6 Paths had 2 children, forming the Uchiha and Senju clans. To awaken the Rinnegan, both bloodlines are required. Hiruzen frowned. Then how did Madara obtain it, being only Uchiha? Naruto shrugged. No clue. Maybe someone managed to use my father's genes. The closest real candidate would be Sasuke. Danzo already injected him with my father's DNA. Jiraiya cleared his throat. All interesting, but can we return to the matter at hand? Everyone chuckled. Hiruzen picked up a paper and began reading a member's skill set. Jinpachi Munashi is 6'5", with long brown hair and a full beard decorated with beads. His head is wrapped in bandages, his left eye covered by a patch. Skills: silent assassination, exceptional kenjutsu, immense physical strength, and long-range explosive attacks with Shibuki, his blast sword. Jiraiya continued. Kasame Hashigaki, the tailless-tailed beast. 6'4", shark-like appearance, blue-gray skin, small white eyes with gill marks. Skills: enormous chakra reserves, superhuman strength, masterful swordsmanship with Samehada, which can absorb chakra and merge with him. Tsunade went next. Deidara has blonde hair tied in a ponytail, partially covering the right side of his face, with blue eyes, standing 5'4". He wields explosion release, using clay and mouths on his hands to create bombs. Extremely intelligent but weak at short-range combat. May picked up Hanzo's profile. Hanzo the salamander stands 5'8", long blonde hair, and wears a mask to contain his poisonous breath. Muscular and dangerous, he commands the salamander summoning contract, fire release, and excels with a Kusarigama. Why does that name feel familiar? Tsunade and Jiraiya growled in unison. Second Shinobi War, he defeated us but spared us out of respect. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Wait, he fought the three of you at once? Jiraiya smirked. That's how we earned the title Legendary Sannin. Should have died that day, but he recognized our strength. Naruto's grin widened. Sounds like a fight I'm looking forward to. Everyone stared, slightly dumbfounded. For the next half hour, the group continued reviewing Akatsuki members, discussing strategies and forming plans. The tension in the room reflected the looming threat. My spies still don't know Madara's full plan, Kushina said, but I suspect it ties to his past. Naruto, did your father ever mention him? Naruto nodded. Yes. He was obsessed with controlling the tailed beasts, including Kurama. Before my father was exiled, he described Madara as power-hungry and warned against him collecting all the Biju. The Kasuke's eyes widened. Do you think his anger at Hashirama for dividing the Biju could mean he wanted them all for himself? A heavy silence fell, the room absorbing the possibility. Finally, Naruto broke it. Kasuke-sama, how is your Jinchuriki doing? The Kasuke's glare was sharp. Trying to steal it, Senju. Naruto remained calm. Not at all. I'm just curious how someone like me is treated these days. Jiraiya mentioned how Jinchuriki are often feared and mistreated. Someone like you, how did I miss that? The Kasuke shouted, shaking his head. Of course you'd be the Kyuubi's candidate. My apologies. If you wish, I can arrange a meeting between you two. Naruto nodded. That would be fine. I'm sure word of what I accomplished in Kiri has reached him already. Jiraiya waved his hands frantically. Wait, Naruto, are you seriously giving Gaara that seal? Naruto nodded, raising his right hand to reveal a partially completed summoning seal. The Kasuke blinked. You can summon the Kyuubi like Madara did. Summoning jutsu, Kurama, Naruto called. A puff of red smoke appeared, clearing to reveal a small, dog-sized Kurama. Ah, Kit, you woke me. The tiny fox yipped. Kawaii, Mei, Tsunade, and Kushina exclaimed, hugging the little fox. Kurama wriggled free, prompting laughter from everyone. After the commotion, the Kasuke turned to Naruto. I trust you with this information, but heed this. One mistake, and you'll see the full might of a Senju unleashed. Before anyone could respond, a messenger burst in, out of breath. I apologize, but Iwa and Kumo are mobilizing forces. It feels like the second Shinobi War is beginning again. Kushina paled. I must return to my village. Will you all aid me in defending it? Of course, came the voices of Mei, the Kasuke, and Hiruzen. Thank you. I'll report any updates on their movements, Kushina said, heading out. Hiruzen dismissed the meeting, knowing war might be imminent. Odo, Cage Tower Kabuto stood in the office with Orochimaru, discussing their latest plan. With help from an ally, everything was in motion to strike at Konoha. Everything is ready, Orochimaru-sama. Iwa and Kumo have joined our effort against Uzugakure, but may I ask something first? Kabuto bowed. You may go, Kabuto. Do you think Iwa, Kumo, and our village alone will be enough? Orochimaru's lips curled into a sly smile. Heh, clever question, Kabuto. But I've already enlisted the aid of some very special individuals, thanks to the organization I belong to. Don't worry, my dear Kabuto, Konoha's fall is only a matter of time. Kabuto bowed respectfully. Understood, Orochimaru-sama. I will leave now and provide daily updates on Konoha's movements. Orochimaru waved him off and then turned his attention to the shadows in the corner of the room. The figure he had been expecting emerged quietly. Was your mission a success? Orochimaru asked. Completely, the man replied. I eliminated a few key council members and left behind a forged note and Uzu headband beside their bodies. Between this and Kabuto's information, they were quick to comply. Excellent, Orochimaru purred. But I wonder how will they react when you return? It doesn't matter. With the reinforcements we have, even the Senju child cannot stop us. Victory will be ours. Aim. Akatsuki base Madara found himself at a crossroads. Should he intervene in Orochimaru's troubles, or should he exploit the distraction to further his own schemes? He sat alone in his quarters, weighing the possibilities for what felt like hours. Eventually, he made a decision. Rising, he strode to the main hall where others were gathered and pulled 3 people aside. Hanzo, Jinpachi, Kasame, I have a task that requires your attention. Senju Estate. Night a knock came at the door. Tsunade opened it to find a boy with reddish-brown hair, piercing green eyes, and a massive gourd strapped to his back. He was dressed in the standard sand ninja attire. "Hello, you must be Gaara," Tsunade said. Gaara bowed politely. "Hi, may I come in, Senju-sama?" "Tsunade is fine. You may enter." He was led to the family room and invited to sit. "Can I offer you some tea or something to drink?" Gaara smiled faintly. "Tea would be wonderful. Thank you, Tsunade." While she prepared the tea, Naruto descended the stairs, taking a brief break from experimenting with the anti-aging seal he and Jiraiya had been developing. They had successfully created a seal that could reverse aging, but the process proved far more complicated than anticipated. Naruto paused when he spotted Gaara seated on the couch. "You must be Gaara," he said, extending his hand. The two shook firmly. "Hi, Naruto-sama, it's an honor to meet you." "Just Naruto is fine. I suppose you're wondering why the Kazekage invited you here, yes? My father mentioned you were similar to me in some ways also, forgive me, but my mother says you should be older than 18. "Mother," Kurama's voice rumbled in Naruto's mind. "He means Shukaku, and yes, all of us Biju have genders, even though we're primarily chakra constructs." Gaara noticed Naruto's distant gaze and understood he was conversing with his tailed beast, so he waited calmly. When Tsunade brought the tea, he thanked her politely. "Apologies for the interruption. To answer your question simply, I sealed myself away for a period of time. That's all you need to know." Gaara sipped the minty tea, smiling at the refreshing taste. His eyes then caught the seal on Naruto's hand. Naruto, may I ask about the seal on your right hand?" Naruto chuckled, setting his cup down. "Actually, that's exactly what I wanted to discuss. How would you like to summon Shukaku from your seal without harming yourself?" "Fresh air, the smell of blood, let me out, Gaara." Gaara shook his head. "I would, but my Biju is unstable. She focuses too much on blood and it unsettles me." Naruto tapped his chin thoughtfully. That's a problem. May I see your seal for a moment?" Gaara's eyes narrowed, and sand whirled protectively around him. Naruto raised his hands in surrender. "Relax, Gaara. I've spent over 50 years mastering Fuinjutsu. I won't harm it. I just want to confirm a suspicion." After a few tense moments, Gaara allowed Naruto to examine the seal. As suspected, the seal was weak, causing the Biju's instability. Naruto spent several minutes studying it before returning with his sealing tools. Over the next 10 minutes, he crafted and activated a stronger seal. Immediately, Gaara noticed the difference. Shukaku muttered thanks repeatedly, and Gaara explained the situation to Naruto, who nodded in understanding. As they continued talking over tea, Naruto opened up about a potential plan. "Gaara, if the time comes, would you join me in locating all the Jinchuriki? There are things I foresee, and I want to prepare." Gaara was surprised but considered the offer. "I'd be curious to meet the others. I've always wondered how Jinchuriki are treated elsewhere. Father ensured that at home, people understood the basics of Fuinjutsu, so I was cared for." Naruto sighed. "Jiraiya tells me most Jinchuriki today are feared and shunned. Your father is a good man, he raised you well. I can see Hokage potential in you. Perhaps one day you'll achieve it." Gaara smiled. "About the summoning seal, I assume there are risks." "Correct, astute as always. 2 issues. The Jinchuriki must gain the Biju's trust, and the seal has a limited duration. I'm working to improve it, which is why I'm not sharing it widely yet." Gaara nodded and rose. "It's late. I should return to the hotel. We leave early tomorrow. I've enjoyed speaking with you, Naruto. I hope we meet again." Naruto escorted him to the door. They shook hands before parting. After closing the door, Naruto exhaled and felt a twinge of doubt. Was he strong enough to face Madara if the time came? Even with years of training ahead, he knew he was far from his father's level. With Madara alive again, who knew what new tactics or counters he'd developed? Deciding sleep was best, Naruto headed to his room. Little did he know, The events about to unfold would begin a countdown for the downfall of the elemental nations. Yet, one person would rise, destined to become the key in ensuring the nations endured, standing tall for all time.